Lead or be led. Me, we can't be mad. Life of a lion, live for the hunt. See the top, be stared. Lead or be led. Me, we can't be mad.
We're good? We on? Guys, welcome to the Sean Whalen Show. Cody, what's up, dog?
What's up, man?
I'm so glad that we could make this happen. So we were talking before we even start. It's like we might as well just start freaking recording because all the good shit happens when you're just sitting there. But dude, there are so many things I want to talk to you about for a number of different reasons. But quick backstory: you and I met. How was that? 3 years ago?
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Three or 4 years ago. Mutual friend Ryan set up a deal at my warehouse with a bunch of vets.
Yep.
And we literally took all the couches and put them in a big circle. And it was we brought in a couple of business guys, and the goal was to help you guys figure out business and launching and scaling and growing and the whole thing. And that's the last time I've seen you since then, or was that the last time I saw you?
No, since then I went to the past 2 years of the Lions and Lives.
That's right. Yeah. My brain's not on.
It's all good. But that was the last time in person for a small meeting like that.
And you've crushed it since then, bro. You've killed it. Talk about that for a second. Because I want to go back. I want to talk about some of the stories that you have are pretty phenomenal. Your military career, obviously, the stories that you've shared from that are really mind-bending. I was watching Sean's show today and watched some of those clips, and it was holy shit, really, really, really powerful, life-changing experiences. Your experience with psilocybin and going down the rabbit hole and the whole thing. But talk about the last couple of years with building your business, because that's one of the things that I love watching is you cutting your teeth, building We Defy the Norm, and because I know that game, right? We were joking about it because you were in the old warehouse, which is the smaller one, and then we went to the big one. But you've been building We Defy the Norm for the last how many years?
Going on 5 years now.
Yeah.
So I think this year I'm out of the Marine Corps 6 years. 18. Yep, 6 years. I think I'm a civilian now for 6 years, and then I met you at my 4-year mark.
Yeah.
Being out of the Marine Corps, 3.5, 4-year mark. Actually, before I met you, my wife and I just moved to Idaho. We were living in a van for about 3.5 years. I had a mullet because I wanted long hair, but God did not bless me with long hair. He said, "I will give you on the sides, but not the top." And I'm so I had a mullet.
You had the old man bowl.
It wasn't balding. It just would stop growing.
Yeah.
So it would just never get. I looked like that van from Dumb and Dumber. The dog.
Yeah.
And I remember when the opportunity came up to come meet you at your warehouse and what Ryan set up. I had a nose ring, I had this mullet, and I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, dude, Sean's I don't even know this fucking guy, but he's gonna eat me alive. This is not what my best self looks like. So I buzzed my head and I'm took out my nose ring. I'm like, all right, I'm doing this. And when I met you, and everyone's talking, and I'm not scared to throw myself into the fire, because why else am I here?
Yeah.
If I act like I got it all right, I'm gonna miss an opportunity to grow. And I remember you were talking about investors, and investors don't we don't like ideas. We want to see things that are already happening, and we want to see facts and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I have these ideas and I know what I want to do. And you're straight up you don't know what the fuck you want to do. I'm like, no, I do. I want to do this. And you kept on challenging me. And because you fucking held me accountable, you called me out because I was so scared to take that next step. And that next step for me was launching my very first Facebook Live class. I taught journaling for 3 days, and you just drill me. You're what time, how long, and all this type of stuff. You're don't come back till it's done. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's serious. And I did, and I didn't know any of the fucking answers,
Yeah.
I figured out, I Google, how do I set up a Facebook group? How do I do this? How do I make a link? All this basic stuff. But dude, that set me on this path of just going more, because my apparel is my artistic side of sharing my life and kind of the different phases that I'm going through. And there's clearly so many people that relate to that and relate to us, what you're doing. And it's just our people, right? My people, your people, our people collectively. And, since then it's been okay, how can I help people get to maybe not where I'm at, like it's a level, but how can I help people get past whatever they're held up at, right? And, you know, that started my coaching group, R3, Raw Real Ready. I've done my own personal in-person event called the Tribal Council. It was super sick. 13 of my close friends.
It's fucking badass, bro.
Yeah, man. And it just, I remember seeing you online years ago, and I was like, man, fuck this guy and his Lambo. It was the Lambo. And I realized that I'm like, dude, I'm fucking so triggered by this dude. But I also looked at you, how I looked at my other veteran friends when I first got out there, they were doing more than me. And that's what triggered me. It wasn't the fact that you had something I didn't. It was the fact that this guy's fucking living. I'm sure you have your hell. But like, this guy's saying what he wants, doing what he wants, and just like being himself as much as like my struggle and my goal every day is like my biggest purpose in life is like, how can I be authentically me? Like there's always layers of my bullshit that I'm constantly fighting to like, how can I just be, I just want to be me where I'm free and don't give a fuck. Yeah. And even though I live day to day pretty much like that, I still know there's like things I'm holding on to or something that I'm not doing the way that I truly want to do it. But I saw you and it just inspired me to like want to change. Actually, how old are you now? You're 45? I think I saw you 43. Yeah. Or like 43 came up and I say that because I was talking about before the mics came on. I've been working with this energy healer in the past, and she's like, Cody, your success is going to come in like the late 30s, early 40s. And I'm like, dude, 43, I just know it, dude. Yeah, like I know it because like that's when, and I turned 39 this year. And yeah. I'm in no rush for it. But like since we met, that I was a timid dude. You know, I lost the wind in my cells. I fucking, you know, my identity was wrapped up in my military. That's all I knew. Yeah. The only thing I wanted to do past that was carry a gun, but I couldn't do that because cognitively I was like a vegetable. And so like this, like, who is Cody Alford? Like, who am I? What is my belief system? Because I had nothing, and like that's just been the journey. But since then, it's been crazy. I still suffer. Like, it's hard, right? Dude, like, every day it's hard.
It's been so freaking fun watching because I remember that vividly, you know, and guys, I don't like to, I could do like a whole bio on you and we'll talk about some of that stuff, but I encourage people like, look all of our guests up. And I mean, for you to be sitting there having that conversation, I'm looking at you like, here's this fucking savage who's been out, you know, dealing with Hajis and kicking in doors and having these insane experiences of like literally no fear. And then you're over here like, so I'm super nervous about launching a journaling course. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. I understand it. And that's what's so fucking cool that I love more than anything is knowing, cause you're doing the same thing now with your coaching group and with you know, We Defy the Norm and everything else, taking like your fear and putting it on the altar. Saying, all right, I'm in, man. And I'm going to look dumb. I'm going to learn to, it's like I got training wheels on again, starting something totally fucking new. And when you start to see that materialize, and as I've watched you sharing and opening, I mean, your stories, like the shit you've shared on social media, I was like literally, I got super emotional reading one of your posts, which I want to read in a minute here earlier today. I'm like, it just makes me fucking smile. I just wanted to say that. Like, I'm super fucking proud watching you build what you're building. Because number one, I know that it's hard. I know that, like, in comparison to like, hey, I'm going to go kick in a door, is there 10 good guys or 10 bad guys behind this, to, you know, sharing your story, sharing your heart, sharing your soul, sharing your energy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy how difficult it is at times to just open up and to just share like who the fuck we really are, like what we really are. And like my journey has been, you've seen it, like, you know what I mean? Most people say that, like, the fuck is this guy? Then they meet and they're like, oh, he's not half bad. You know, there's still people that are like, who the fuck is this guy? Yeah, but always. I'm just, it's been really truly an honor watching you grow the business, watching you grow and you know, from the van to the house in Idaho to the family to the wife to the kids to being a dad to being an entrepreneur. So like, hats off to you, bro. Like, thanks, real man. Talk.
I appreciate
real talk. It's crazy because meeting there and seeing that, like, as I've gone down the rabbit hole in some of your story, I mean, you're pretty well known and have done some really big podcasts in the past. Your story is all over YouTube. It's all over the internet. Like, what's that been like for you? Because I have a lot of friends that are vets. I hang out with a lot of guys who have served. I never served. I catch all that shit all the time. Stolen valor. Why? Because I wear a schmog and like I shoot guns. It's like, well, don't you want me to be armed and shit like that? Like, at least I'm not some fat lazy fuck. But different story for a different day, right? But what's that been like for you? Like stepping out from that really, really, really powerful past and story into this leadership position and sharing that and opening up your heart and opening up your soul and sharing your life. What's that been like for you?
At first, I didn't really understand, but like, let me put it this way. Since we met to where I'm at now, like, I have this new thing called like belief and faith, which I did not have it out of choice. I didn't have it because I was still figuring out what is that truth to me and like what am I willing to die for? And but when I look at it now, it's like it's opened up the platform for me to like impact more lives. Now I ask myself, okay, are you impacting them because you're cool? Or are you impacting them because you have an opportunity to share something that can bring everyone to this next level of like growth and prosperity and abundance and just truth, like the thing that they're actually looking for? And that's where I'm at now. So I struggle with now, like, how can I make this not about me? And, you know, like, because I looked at my shit, man. Like, I didn't save my life when I got shot in the fucking helmet. I didn't do that to myself. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't me. I didn't make myself fucking promoted faster than anyone in the military, in the Marine Corps. I didn't, you know, allow myself to be able to retire early. For what reason? Like, I retired 4.5 years early because my brain was shutting down. That was a fucking blessing. And I knew it then. I just didn't know how to let go of this identity. But like, everything in my life, in the military to where I'm at, it's just been a fucking blessing. And it's been really hard at the same time, because I'm like, at first when I was making it about me, I'm like, oh, I don't want to fucking show up. I want to quit on myself every day. But then I'm like, man, if I just get to impact one person, that's pretty dope. And I still struggle with that, because I get these messages like, people like, oh, you're always trying to help people out. You know, if you ever want to talk, like, for whatever reason, that shit still bothers me. I don't want to talk to you. Yeah. Like, I don't. I like suffering. It's the way I find peace. Like, I like suffering. That's where the good conversations come. Like, that's where the growth comes for me. And like, but that's just me, you know. And I share with people because for whatever reason, dude, maybe like you, I don't want to assume, but like, I just feel called to share. Like, I feel called to like take my proverbial knife and just like gut myself and put it all on the fucking table. And I don't know why. And I've really struggled hard because I'm not an idiot. Like, whatever I've been sharing, whatever people call that as a message, because they clearly see it clearer than I do, it's impacted millions of lives. I mean, my Sean Ryan episode, 2.4 million people, I think last time I checked, watched 6.5 hours.
It's insane. Like, it's such a good episode. Such a good freaking interview, bro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That was super therapeutic. I've never like talked A to Z like that, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, it's just like, well, what am I doing and how can I help people more? I'm like, well, all right, well, just, everyone's like, keep on doing what you're doing. I'm like, I don't know.
You're like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing.
I actually called Rocco. You remember Rocco?
Oh, yeah,
I called Rocco like other week. I'm like, bro, do people ever come up to you and say like, hey, keep on doing what you're doing? He's like, yeah. I'm like, do you know what the fuck they're talking about? He's like, I don't have a fucking clue. I'm like, dude, neither do I. Dude. I don't, if you had a gun to my head, said, write down what you do, I'm like, I don't know the codes to the launch. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I just, for whatever reason, I just feel called to share. But it's been super rad, but it's also been like super stressful too, because like, people want you to save them, and I can't fucking do that. It's never been my job. Even before, call it enlightenment or connection to God, like even before that, like I can never do that. I tried to do that, and then I was suffering. Yep. Let me rephrase suffering. I was killing myself. Yep. But it's never been my job to save you. It's been my job just like, yo, you're thirsty, here's the water. Right. If you're not thirsty, that's okay. Either option is totally cool, but like, I can't make you drink this. Yeah. And so I just kind of play it by that ear. But that part's difficult because people know a fuck ton about me now. And they're like, oh, hey, I know you. I want you to know about me. I want you to save me, help me. I'm like, you're not listening to anything that I'm sharing. It's you got to just keep on going. The help is in the process. It's not in like the where you're at right now. Is you got to keep on walking, and you're not gonna fucking know. And you got to go to the event and get triggered by a fucking grown ass man. You have to find this thing called belief if you ever want to fucking grow even more, because it's calling you, bitch. Like, you know, what are you fighting? And all I know is that I've been fighting so many things in my life because I've been scared of, like, especially with like faith. It's terrified me. because it told me exactly what to do, and only an idiot's like, please, what's my next step? And the next steps come to you and you're like, no, I can't do that. That's too difficult. So all I care about now is like, how can I serve people? So because I get nervous when I talk. I get nervous when I get asked, like tomorrow we're talking. I think I got like 10 minutes tomorrow. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to say. Right?
I don't either. So
what are you going to say for 10 minutes?
Don't feel bad.
Yeah. And then I have to remind myself like, hey, you know what? Cody Alford don't own a Lambo yet. Because mine's a Porsche, right? Like mine's going to be a Porsche, but like I have to remind myself that it's not a comparison. It's just me against me. And I always have to remind myself that. And I think with kind of like the weight of like, dude, I just got stopped in the airport today. I got stopped at a Chipotle when I was grabbing like a steak bowl. Like, hey, you that guy from the episode? I'm like, yeah, I am. And that part's just really.
How's that feel?
Dude, it's fucking rad. At first, it used to make me feel kind of cringe, not because they came up to me, but I'm just a nobody.
You tried to downplay, like, I don't know, it's all good, man.
And then I realized how much I was downplaying in my life. Actually, in my coaching group, one of my guys, I actually went to boot camp with him, and we did some time in the Marine Corps together. And one day I was talking, because I have like my helmet that I got a bullet hole in behind me. He's like, hey, I just wanted to say that I rewatched your episode, and I'm glad I never had to go through what you went through. And I started to cry. I'm like, what I went through is what I went through. It is what it is. But I never gave myself credit for like, bitch, you didn't just get shot in the helmet. You had to continue to fight. Oh, by the way, it wasn't over then. Then you had to patrol. Then you had to fight more. And then you still didn't go home. You had to keep on going. Oh, by the way, you're going to go out the next day with the same helmet with a fucking hole in it that serves no purpose, but you have to wear it because you're a Marine. Like, that shit's traumatizing. And I never ever gave after 20 years, actually tomorrow is 20 years since that day.
Wow.
I never gave myself credit for those things, and credit for just going through them, not credit as in I did anything about it, but like I was the tangible, actual one going through it. And now I kind of look at that in this, like, I'm going through this notoriety thing, but how can I make it not about me? Like, that's my main focus now, is like, how can I do something that's no one's done it before? Because clearly whatever's happening ain't working. And if I refuse to, I can't be like other people. Like, if you're team water, I can't talk about the same thing, because that's fucking lame. Clearly that ain't converting nobody. That's not inspiring anyone to go down the darkness, right? Like, so that's kind of where I'm at. But it's been really cool to have people stop by. Like, they're like, are you the guy I see on TikTok? I'm like, damn, my TikTok's blowing up like that? Yeah, I'm the guy on TikTok. So I mean, it's just cool.
It's humbling, man.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
After my first post went viral, and people started stopping me, it's the same thing. And I think it's probably because guys like you and I have a really hard time receiving love and accepting love. And people start praising you, like, I just want to crawl under the table. I'm like, stop. Like, I went to dinner the other night with some friends, and they're saying the same thing. He's like, you don't realize it. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's go get some more chicken, you know? And his wife like stops, and she like kind of looks at me. She's like, you have such a hard time receiving love. I'm like, yeah, I fucking do. I totally do. And it's almost everywhere I go, like, it's the same thing. Like, the guy, you have no idea. People come up and shake your hand and the whole thing. And the thing that I think is really powerful about that, you know, and maybe you've seen this, is understanding that there's a word that came to me a while ago, is permission. You know, and you think of permission like you got to get a permission slip, or you got to go ask mom and dad. But I have found personally, like, sharing my story, sharing my truth, sharing my darkness, sharing my fears, sharing my anger, sharing my resentment, sharing my bitterness, sharing my past, when people look, they're like you said, it's the Lambo guy. It's like, well, fuck, man. Like, if he can do that, I could do that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's such a powerful place of leadership, you know, outside of military and you know, the regimented reality of that. But like, as someone looks at you, they're like, okay, this motherfucker got shot in the head. He's got crazy stories, stacking bodies, Fallujah. I want to talk about all that stuff. But like, if that motherfucker can come out of that and then build a 6-figure business, then maybe I can do that too. Like, if he can open up about his shit, be the tattooed badass fucking dude, maybe I can too. And I feel like that's this really interesting stigma, and it's Malcolm Gladwell talks about in The Tipping Point, like the pendulum swings back and forth. And I feel like we're swinging in that way, where you get guys like, you know, Evan Hafer and Rocco, from the military community, where guys start sharing their shit and they talk about the darkness. You talk about, you know, the mental game and mental health and all this other stuff, where it's been such a taboo thing because we just alpha. We just man up and handle our shit. And that obviously hasn't been working. And so it's something as simple as holding that little plastic device and shooting a video reaches who knows where, and it changes somebody.
Yeah.
I know that you had a really cool experience with psilocybin that I want to ask you about, but I too had one where I had a vision, and it was really powerful for me. This was about 5 years ago, and I was looking at a man and his son from behind, and there was a big screen in front of them, and that big screen was playing one of my videos, and it was a man and a son. That's all I could tell. It was like a father and a son watching me talk, and there was nothing to it. It wasn't like good, bad, right or wrong. What was the video? It was just me talking, and I had this vision that I didn't know who this guy was. I didn't know who his son was. I didn't know where they were. I didn't know if they were Baptist, Catholic, Protestant, Mormon, whatever. I didn't know if they're atheists. Like, I didn't know if they were rich or poor, but they're watching me, and some dude in some land is consuming content, my message, my fear, my truth, my reality, and they're going to take that as gospel and doctrine, and it might move the needle so that their family goes in a different direction. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a really, really humbling, terrifying thing to think about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And as you're sharing that, like, I feel like that's really what you're doing with people, is giving people, especially in the veteran community, permission.
Yeah, and the vet, first responders, you know, just honestly a lot of dudes. There's a local law enforcement officer that lives I go to jiu-jitsu with him. He's been a cop for like 14 years in my small town, right? There's probably never been a crime worth anything. And he came up to me an idea, and he's like, and I pulled my old Sean Whalen book out. I'm like, all right, when someone approaches you with an idea, tell them they have by this date to get this shit, or don't talk to me again. That's exactly what I told him. And, you know, I've helped this guy. I mean, I've helped set the foundation for him to make his first six figures still a full-time law enforcement officer. And he's like, he texts me all the time. He's like, hey, dude, you've helped me change my life, change relationship with my kids, relationship with my wife. Like, you've helped change my family's life. You know, they planned this trip to Hawaii. I'm like, what's it going to be like? Where you staying? What you driving? What you eating? Right? Like, just because he didn't think he could.
Yeah.
Because he had a small town cop mind, even though he had a big time dream and calling.
Right.
And it's like, well, how do you merge the two? Well, it's easy. You just come in one day and you're like, it's like the military. Hey, your hands are in your pockets. You're like, no shit, that's what they're there for, right? But in the military, it's like you're a Satanist if you put your hands in your pocket, right? Like, I used to always have like chapstick in my pocket. So every time like someone yell at me, I'm like, oh, I just got my chapstick, you know, like, because they're dumb, right? But they don't know any different. Well, most people don't know any different. How could you know differently? You only know what you know, and it's really cool to be able to share your unfiltered you that literally kicks off a second, third, or positive effect in someone's life. And, you know, that's the cool thing about social media. And you always talk about it, like, pull out this thing, look at this free advertisement that I got. I'm just like, fuck yeah, that's sick, dude.
Yeah.
2 million impressions over a post. Like, that's, some people are like, I don't use social media. Shut up, nerd. Like, you're obviously not doing anything
exactly
like of grand scale, not because you don't use social media, but because you haven't realized the power of just influence. Your family, you know, your fucking wife, like all these things, like they're still in that triggered like scarcity state. And I know I can kind of fall into I'm human.
Yeah.
If I don't watch my stuff, I can fall into any of the low level categories. I'm not like oblivious to them. Like, I can get really angry and like want to like blow everything down, you know, to the ground. I can do that. I do
that regularly, by the way.
Yeah. My wife's like, can we not talk about work? I'm like, but I need to. I got to talk about this, because if not, I'm going to explode.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's crazy. You never know who's going to watch your stuff.
I think that's what's fun, man, is it's like, it's, you don't have to be, and this is something that I don't think very many people see with social media is, you know, you can tell when somebody's selling you something. You can tell when somebody's pitching you. You know, and I think a lot of people have an issue with me, and maybe with you get some of the same blowback, because it's like, well, who the fuck do you think you are? You know what I mean? You think you're better than me, you think you're cooler than me, the whole thing. And at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, I'm just being me. And some days I'm an asshole. Some days I cry. Some days I want to punch the wall. Some days I want to burn everything to the ground. Some days I drive a truck. Some days I drive a Lamborghini. Some days I'm wearing a Rolex. Some days I'm wearing a Panerai. It's like, you know, you keep getting people, in my opinion, we live in this one-dimensional reality, and when you see somebody in a three-dimensional, it's like, what the fuck? And then you go to like 6 dimensions, and then somebody who doesn't have any dimensions, where they're just like, yo, I'm here for the ride. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you believe in God?
I do.
I used to pray for things. I don't know how you pray, but hey, all right, God, I want to do this deal and this thing and help me. And now I realize, like, God's going to do what God's going to do. And so in the morning I get up, I'm like, put the people in front of me that you need me to meet and put the words in my mouth that you need me to speak. And my job is just to walk. I'm just here to walk. That's it. Like, one foot in front of the other. That's what he asked me to do. Who I cross, who I see, who I bump into at the airport or the Chipotle or whatever, it's going to happen. And there's going to be like a little ripple in the universe. Like, who's God to you?
Man, that's something, so that's a journey that I'm on. It's kind of like back trail. So prior to COVID, do you want to hear the story real quick?
Dude, tell it.
Prior to COVID, I'm in the Grand Canyon and I'm fucking desperate. I worked in the cannabis industry for about 4 months in LA. I got paid like $280,000 starting off. I got a $30,000 bonus in the first like 2 months. I'm like, I wanted the money. Mm-hmm. That's all I saw was money. And then for me to keep that pay, they're doing some downsizing. They wanted me to take over this like CEO position of one of our other grow facilities, but it was like super, what's the word? Like shady. And I tell my wife, she's like, no, not doing it. She's like, you can go, I'm going to go do this. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll stay in the van because we lived in I wanted a safe apartment. So I'm paying like $4,000 a month for like a 1-bedroom, like a safe apartment because I'm dealing in cannabis. She's like, I'm leaving. I'm like, okay, well, fine. Well, I'll leave too. And that was not the first answer. I wanted to stay for the money. Well, anyways, long story short, blessed with the way out. Boom. We leave. We're heading to Texas to help my mom with her house, my childhood home. And we stop at the Grand Canyon on the way home. And I'm like, I'm fucking desperate. I need some type of guidance and direction. So I weighed all the mushrooms that I had. I had 13 and a half grams. I'm like, fucking.
At one time?
At one time.
Are you fucking serious?
Swear to God, dude. I sent it.
Bro.
And I'm like.
You're not just seeing aliens, like you become an alien.
So, you know how like maybe some, and all my journeys have been for like therapeutic healing, sure. Right? Yeah. But like, you know how like some of them are like they're in your head? Mm-hmm. I was walking around in this journey. Like I was like very active.
Yeah.
For the first time ever. And so I like make my tea out of it, half lemon, all my stuff, and I drink. By the time I drink the liquid, I'm already seeing fractal trails. I'm like, well, I got to commit and eat these nasty, swollen, shitty shrooms now. I'm like, I'm fucking all in this thing. And I ate them. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I wanted to quit. I'm like, no, you asked for this.
Full send.
And I go through this like super crazy trip. I'm like, oh my God. And it's like shit about my dad, like childhood trauma, like all sorts of crazy shit. I'm like, wow, this is deep. Well, towards the end, it told me a few things. One of them was very clear. Actually, they were all three very clear, but one of them was something I would never say. It said I needed Jesus in my life. I'm like, I would never say that shit in a million years, ever, willingly. So I barge into my van. I'm like, babe, I need Jesus in my life. I need to get baptized.
She's like, yo, you're high.
She's like, we are not having, it's like 2:00 in the morning. I'm like half naked now. I'm like starting rubbing myself, trying to get the little buddy heater out. And because it's snowing, she's already gone inside. She was tending the fire all night for me to keep me safe and warm. And my dogs are freaking out in the van's 60 square feet. It ain't big. Mm-hmm. And she's like, we're not going to have this conversation right now. I'm like, I got to get baptized. I got to call your parents. Like all this shit. And I sat on it. I sat on it for like however long COVID was, 2020. So now we're 4, so about 4 years now.
Yeah.
And I've had all these like profound experiences where, you know, I did another psychedelic trip at my buddy's house on the creek, and I literally lived through 1,000 crucifixions. So I got this cross in the back of my head because when I'm not gonna say it was Jesus, but as this depiction, I didn't see a face. I only saw like the side profile and the back profile, but I felt the weight of this cross, and I felt all these eyes looking at me, doing nothing. You know, at any given time, you know, this person, we'll just call it Jesus for simplicity, he could have gave up and been a bitch and like, no, don't kill me, and got dragged up there, killed, and it had been game over, and everything he had ever stood for had been for fucking nothing. It's the same Braveheart story, right?
Yep.
And
I literally watched that last night with my kids. I swear to God.
It's too much like gruesome shit for me. Dude, I can't do the gruesome anymore.
I sit there with the kids and I'm like, watch this. Look at how badass he is. Like, look at these guys. Like, they're fucking savages. But we literally watched it yesterday.
Oh, no shit.
Swear to God.
But you know, right? Yeah. He could have said, no, please, king. Yeah. And they're like, no, fuck you, freedom. And that's why I got the cross the back of my head, believing what you stand for. Everyone's like, are you a Christian? Like, bro, stop putting these titles on me, dude.
What does that even
I
mean?
I don't want to be like you. You're
right.
I don't want to be part of you at all. I barely wanted to be part of my old military unit because half the guys were douches. There's always douches everywhere.
Sure.
But anyways, then I remember moving back to North Carolina. Now COVID's kind of halfway through. My buddy, my other mentor of mine, he's like, hey, do you want to grow your brand? I'm like, yeah. He's like, come over to my warehouse and I'll get you squared away. And so that's when I bought my first inventory, and I'm outside working. I still have my shitty mullet at the time, and my shirt's off, had a mullet bandana, and I'm stretching on the like a broom pole, and dude, sure as fuck, dude, the shadow is like projecting onto the floor, and I'm fucking crucified. I'm like, ugh, heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
And I'm still fighting it all. So then I started reading a lot of books, got into like spirituality. I had like more like belief of like what these things are. Fast forward, I go to my first line in live, and what did the fuck does Whalen say? He's like, God's gonna speak to each and every one of you here. I'm like, shut up, dude, because it triggered me. Not you, but the God, Jesus shit triggered me. And I'm a firm believer, if it triggers you, it's an invitation to investigate.
Yeah.
But those two things have always triggered me. And because I looked at these people who say they believe in that shit, I'm like, I do not want to ever have dinner with you or ever like be in a car ride with you. So this can't be it. And sure as fuck, you know, I actually messaged you after that. I'm like, hey, dude, like, I believe in God. Now I need to figure out what this is to me. I messaged you that. And I just kept on thinking, like, fuck, dude, what am I doing with my life? Like, I can't do this by myself. A lot of my good friends, I'm like, damn, dog, you believe in, like, Jesus and shit? Like, I never knew, because they're not like the 99%.
Sure.
And I'm like, damn, I'm interested even more. And, you know, Sean Ryan and some of his more recent guests are all like, they came to faith. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on, dude? Like, talking to my friends, like, why is everyone like Jesus this, Jesus that?
What's in the water?
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And it triggered me more.
Yeah.
Even though 3 years prior, out of nowhere, this clear as day message came to me when I'm asking, like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? And I'm like, dude, I've always felt like I've been fighting something. And I'm like, what if I just said fuck it and tried it? And worst case, I go back to where my life was at. I still suffer. I know I'm holding myself back. Worst case, I go back to that fucking life. Best case, I get a bunch of new challenges, a bunch of more scary shit, but I can grow to new heights I could never imagine on my own. And that's where I'm at today. So you asked me, what is God? God is infinite, right? God is, to me, God is this calling inside. I still battle with like the consciousness, right? Because that ain't me talking to me. And so that's when everyone's weird. Everyone's got their Bible scriptures and everyone clearly fucking knows everything, which is another reason why I don't want to be associated with them, because it's my relationship. I don't ask you for advice with my shit. So why are you trying to shove down words in a book, which clearly have been interpreted based off the reader? But when it says like, I don't believe God's not outside me, it's inside me. I always believe that if there is a God, I should be able to have access to it, him or her, or omni-it, with or without a Bible, with or without man. If I was on an island by myself in the middle of nowhere in pure darkness, I should be able to reach said creator. Well, that's what I still believe to this day. So all I want to do now, and all I'm really trying to do now, is I want to build that relationship where I'm being more conscious. Like I'm really excited to get baptized. I had a friend like, why do you want to get baptized? I'm like, bitch, I want the full experience, bro. Like, because that's also something I said. It said, I need Jesus in my life and I get baptized. I'm like, I don't know, it's terrifying. I would never fucking say that shit. But I'm like, what's the worst thing that happens to me? I die? I'm going to die anyways. So what can I do between now and then? And what's been really awesome and humbling is I've had a lot of really good supportive friends that are like, man, if Cody ever came to the Lord, he would be unstoppable. I'm just like, bro, buckle the fuck up, dude. Because I don't want it to be about me, because I'm a selfish person by trade. I am super selfish. I am so selfish. It's redonkulous how selfish I am. And what good does that get me? I know the more selfish I am, I think about my wife all the time. I'm like, my wife is going to live a mediocre, average life, and she's going to be okay with it. Not because she's a lesser person, because she loves me. She's a ride or die. But then I look at how I wasted her life. Because she's going to love me, even if I say go left when we really need to go right. She's going to fucking love me and support me. But that's going to cost her everything, and she's not going to complain once, because she is significantly stronger than me. And I don't want that. And I'm like, my wife, because this is new to her, she's like, when were you about this? You know how this came about? I'm at a fucking nonprofit event and I'm supposed to speak tonight, and it was like, I'm like, okay, I need some guidance. You know, what am I gonna say? And all I kept on saying in my head was, share your faith. I'm like, oh shit. Well, I didn't speak that night. I'm like, oh my God, how are you gonna? I'm speaking the next time. I'm like, how are you gonna do that to me? And this, I asked again. I'm like, we're getting ready to speak. I'm like, okay, what should I say? And it said, you already know, bitch. I'm like, you think you're gonna get out of it because you missed a day? No, just give me more time to like ponder it. And so I went up stage, and like literally the first thing I said was like, hey, I've recently accepted Christ into my life. And my wife was like, what the fuck? I'm like, you're not gonna talk to me? I'm like, I kind of weird like that. I'm sorry. And so it's new to her and it's new to me, and I don't need to figure it out.
Yeah.
But I do want to nurture that because I feel something inside me, and it ain't me that's saying, Cody, go for it. It ain't me that got me through all these amazing timelines of fucking horrible trauma and hardships. It wasn't me. I did the action, but through what strength and for what reason? And that's at 38 years old. I'll turn 39 this year. That's what I'm trying to piece together in my life is like, man, how can I serve? How can I lead people towards their truth and their belief without doing what everyone else is doing, but without being that guy too, right? How can I do it by being me? And, you know, there's a lot more like Christ stuff into my like content, but I just like just name dropping it more because like now I don't need to skirt around anymore because I'm like, what am I gonna lose you
you're
as
good with it.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
It
It doesn't trigger me anymore.
It's like
Jesus Christ, I can say it. I'm not triggered.
Yeah,
God, I'm not triggered. And that's huge for me.
Yeah.
And that's all I really care about is, am I okay? Because if I can grow through those things, what else can I do for my family?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I like care about. I just care about my fucking family, man.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to make sense. Like that's the thing. Like one of my favorite quotes is, live your life so that those who know you but don't know Christ want to know Christ because they know you.
Yeah, I like that one. I've heard that one.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like I think about that because I grew up Catholic. I was Catholic for 15 years and then I joined the Mormon church and went on a Mormon mission. And, you know, after my divorce 12 years ago, I never like got mad. I've never been mad at God, but I was kind of like, there's more here. Like I could just, that feeling, you can't explain it. I don't know. It's like, what? Who? There's just this calling. And, you know, you go back and look at Jesus's life, and he goes out into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. Like, what does he do? I bet he's probably eating some mushrooms and drinking some ayahuasca. I don't know.
Don't you dare say that,
you know
son.
What I'm saying?
Blasphemy.
Well, show me that he didn't.
Hellfire.
Prove that he didn't. Yeah. I can't prove that he did. You can't prove that he didn't. So, like, let's just freaking talk about it, right? And I realized, like, I had been in this secular world my whole life. I was born in Catholic and the altar boy and First Holy Communion, and you do this, you're going to go to heaven. You do this, you're going to go to hell. You do this, this is good, this is bad, right? And after my divorce, I was like, I've just never really gone out into the wilderness and just talked to God. And so I just closed all the books. Not that they're wrong or bad. I mean, I've read everything. I was an ordained minister for 2 years. I read the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Bhagavad Gita, all of it. And I've got today a really, really, really powerful relationship with my Savior. I can't explain it to you. You can quote a fact. Like every time I talk about God a lot, and people are like, "Well, the Bible says." I'm like, "I don't fucking care. I don't really care," because at the end of the day, like you look at the old, you know, the guys who came before us, and Saul, who was this total freaking whack job, like hated Christians, persecuted Christians, literally put Christians in jail, is walking along one day, and as the good book says, in the blink of an eye, he becomes Paul. He's literally changed. He accepts his entire demeanor changes in an instant. He's walking down a path one day, and that's it. And he goes on to literally write canons of scripture and be one of Jesus's closest advocates and allies, right? And I think that's what's dope about like hearing your story is just, it doesn't need to make sense. You don't need a book to back it up. It's like your heart, you know your heart. Like God knows your heart. You know that connection. You said something that I thought was really cool. I've spent the last couple of years really building a relationship with Christ, like trying to understand him, right? Because whether he's this figure in a book, or I think he was really the guy and the savior of the world and took upon the sins. It's all, you know, it's an interesting conversation to have. But I literally vision a man who came down, who believed he was a fucking freak. Jesus was a freak. He walked town to town. He didn't have any shit. He wasn't trying to amass wealth. He just walked around helping people. He just talked. We pick up these plastic devices and do the same thing, and he just sat on rocks and did the same fucking thing. And when God said talk, he talked. And when God says, Cody, write, you write. And God says, Sean, deliver, I deliver. And it's like, it doesn't need to make sense. And it might not be backed up by this scripture, that scripture, but I've driven down the street before and I pull over and it's just like, and you just ship it. And it's like, people are like, what the fuck, where'd that come from? But what you said was dead on. When it came time to pay the price, he didn't waver. And that to me is the story. That to me is the story of divinity. It's like if a guy put a gun to your head right now and said, denounce God or I'm going to kill you. How many men do you know that would?
Same amount of men I know that said, take this shot or you're getting kicked out of the military or you're losing your job. It's no different. Hey, I'm just doing my job, right?
Yeah.
Like people, this level of fear, but yeah, these are the same people who have faith, which is the same reason why I don't want to be associated. It's even more reason why it solidifies the fact that it's our relationship, not our whole, like that school teacher stuff where we're all sink or we're all swim. No, bro, like I'm not with David Goggins, hold no boats. This isn't log PT.
Right.
This is the battle between darkness and light within my own being.
Yep.
And how I choose to show up in this as an avatar in this world is a direct reflection of that relationship and conversations that I have. And it should not be watered down because your inability to have anything you're worth fighting for.
Amen.
And
it doesn't need to make sense to anybody.
It doesn't have to make
sense to you.
And I had a friend say that the other day. He's like, what if God is just a word we use to explain, whatever sound that it is? Because like, do I think God's a dude? No. Do I have a lot of confusion about the Bible and what people are like super solid on? Yeah, of course I do, because shit's still weird, right? And if it was so black and white, how boring would that be? Oh, I read the book, I'm good to go. I'm fucking baptized. Like my life is saved. Like really? You're still living in hell. You're still fat. You're still not pursuing your dreams. Like you're not fucking working on your hardships. Like how are you saved? Like you want people to save you and everyone's like, oh, Jesus is coming back. Like, what a shame. What a fucking shame for someone to just save the day for you. Good luck.
Yeah.
That ain't my God. Because my God ain't a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy that I believe in, the thing that I believe in is like, no, dude, you want to make a difference?
Go.
Fucking stand.
Do it.
And that takes courage. Faith is almost this watered down thing where it's just too easy. I believe it's not, because time and time again, we've seen people, especially our own countrymen and women, turn against fucking faith in our country, faith in our neighbor, faith in our family, faith in herself. And what's that costing us? I mean, it's costing us everything, but it's also kind of cool too, because it's like, all right, the seas are actually separating. And it's like, where are you, left side, right side, in the middle? Or are you the one splitting it, right? Are you the one creating the fucking anomaly that says like, hey, you can pick these sides or you could just like follow me, bro. And I've always asked myself that, because like when I first started doing psychedelics, I had this like huge like God complex, and I'm like, I thought I was, I'm fucking change the world, and I'm like, but you can, but not Cody Alford. The vessel of me can do that, right? The message that I'm able to share, which clearly comes to me, I can share that. I can make an impact on the world that way. But it's just like, how do we do that in a dark time where people are weak? People would rather turn to a book than turn to the streets. People would rather fucking pray for change, vice go create it. I can tell you this much, dude. I've had people fucking run into my house to fucking murder me and my friends. There ain't no level of praying gonna stop that. You have to pick up arms to do something about it, right? Like there is no level of like, why me? Why is this? No. No one's saving you. Like it ain't happening that way, because the war for heaven and hell, salvation and fucking damnation is inside here. This out here is just a manifestation of all of our human interactions that we're choosing to partake in. There ain't no one gonna come save me out here. Why would they? Yeah. And that's what I truly believe. And once again, oh, you're just I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, I don't care what people say about me, because the cool thing about what I do love about Jesus is like, he was a freak too. Like you said, people weren't fucking backing him up. He had very few friends. He had, at the end of the day, the people closest to him are the ones who sold him out. So his quote unquote homies were like, oh, really? A bag of silver? Okay, cool. He's over there. Like he was a nomad. He didn't have very many friends. Like I've felt that way. Like as my journey with him has grown, social media grows, it's really interesting. You think that like,
have a lot of people. I don't roll with a lot of people. Like I just don't.
Fun.
Yeah, I love it. Like
Yeah.
it's, you think it's like this lonely thing, but it's not. It's being alone. And when I'm alone, there's not a lot of noise there, and I can hear and I can feel and I can see. You know, I get into chaos when I get into the freaking matrix kind of a thing. It's like, no, zoom out, bro. You know what I'm saying? But how much has plant medicine helped you? I was intrigued by that.
Yeah, it's changed my life. I mean, honestly, it led me to my faith, you know. And people are like, I love the internet. You need plant medicine? Like, listen, bitch. I always tell people, because when I host like these like primal retreats, and I've had a lot of like super religious people, and I'm like, did you ever think that it doesn't matter the vehicle that you use, it matters the destination it takes you to?
Yep.
Whether that's water bottle, unicorn, Jesus, Gandhi, fucking whoever. Like, you ever think bigger than what you're currently thinking at? And you know, I remember I went down to Mexico through a nonprofit called Vets, and I did through this company called Ambio Life. I did ibogaine and 5-MeO DMT, and I've done plenty of DMT, but 5-MeO was a whole new level. Like, you can't fight that. And when I came out of that level, which is why, like, you know, my coaching group now is my lion head. Like, my personal brand is my lion head with my tomahawk. And I'm like, I get the lion. I came out of that trip and I just roared, dude. Yeah. I felt so free, and I felt so much love. Like, not like I'm loved. I just felt limitless. That to me is love, limitless. Like, you can do anything. You're only slave to yourself and no one else. And I was like, holy fuck, that's crazy. And but plant medicine has truly transformed my life. It's opened up the way I view the world, view myself. But I felt called to do that. And I think that's where people get held up on, like, oh, I didn't need that. I'm like, I'm not you, dog. Cool. Why are you comparing? Yeah. But it's clearly there. It's there for a reason, and I felt called to it. Felt called to it every time. I'm also brave enough to go pull that thread of unknown and see what happens, and that's exactly how I got into psilocybin. I was actually in Salt Lake City. 30 days out of the Marine Corps. I'm actually hanging out with a buddy of mine in Ogden, and another friend of mine came, and he's like, hey, I brought these for you. And I'm like, how do I do it? How do I use it? And he like gave me like some rundown, and intuitively I come up with like the journaling and like kind of like my intention setting and everything. And you know, that I instantly went from like death by cop mindset to like, holy shit, I'm happy, I'm free. But one thing I didn't realize is that I was still very new to it all. I didn't realize that white space that was created, I needed to replace and create new habits and routines that I didn't know that yet. So after like 45 days, I go back to being a complete shithead. And so then it was like, okay, I get into like journaling and breath work and all these like positive things. And then, you know, I feel called to do DMT or feel called to do this. Literally, I was called to do ayahuasca. It's straight up. I remember a year prior, I'm at my buddy's cabin, and he's like, oh, you should do ayahuasca. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't think I'm there yet. And literally a year later, I'm at my buddy's cabin again, and I did like 5 grams in the woods, and I came out of it and said, you're ready for the next level. And sure as shit, the next morning at 10 o'clock, I get a phone call from an acquaintance. He's like, hey, there's a spot open up to go to Peru to do ayahuasca. Do you want to go? You know what I said? I said no. Really? I was so scared. I said no, and I tried to do this. But we don't have the money. My wife's like, shut up. We have the money. Go. Yeah. And I'm just like, and I find myself doing like too. I find myself with opportunities that come, positive or negative, and I'm like, I shrink. And I do it. I still do it to this day. Me too. I have a speaking engagement that I'm doing with this law enforcement unit in Arizona, and he reached out to me. They're ready to like dot I's, cross T's, pay up, and like secure the date. You know what I did? I stalemate it. I just sit on it. I'm like, why are you doing this? Yeah. You asked to make an impact. You asked for change. You asked for these opportunities, and you're sitting on it. I have so many unread messages and emails, not because I'm too cool, but it's just like I self-sabotage because it's just like, what am I doing? Why can't I just let go?
Do you think it's self-sabotage? Because I do the same thing. And it's interesting because I have had a huge complex around it for a lot of years. Like, I'm not organized, I'm not structured, I don't have shit, and I need to be organized, and I need to be accountable, and I should have my inbox to zero. I have tens of thousands of messages, like hundreds of text messages, and I've shamed myself and felt so bad for so long. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of stopped doing that a while ago. And it's like, I don't like not respond to people. I try and respond to everybody and, you know, whatever else. But it's like, I've carried so much of like how it should be and how it should look and the whole thing. And I've started to morph into a totally different place where I'm kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's either not a fit or I don't want to go or I don't want to do this or don't want to do that. And, you know, God's like going to show me something and give me something. And it's not a place of apathy. I'm not like sitting around just picking my nose all day long. I'm moving like a motherfucker all day. But like, I think that there's something to that. There's something to look at that where it's like you feel like guilt and shame, like, fuck, I got to do all of these things. But then you're like, no, but yeah, you end up doing more things. You know what I'm saying? In the big game. And maybe that's like that challenge for guys like us where it's like we have to be going and going and doing and doing it. And all of a sudden, like we find ourselves in that space. I think this is why plant medicine is so powerful. It's changed my life. Like I've done ayahuasca 13 times. I've been down the rabbit hole, all of them. And it's a terrifying place. You know what I'm saying? Because you know you're going to get naked. And you don't know if you're going into rainbows and kittens or fucking dancing with the devil. But there's a surrender there. And I think that like that dynamic of, man, I feel like I have to do all these things and all these unread messages. There's that dynamic of being in a place where you're open to receive. Does that make sense? Yeah. And like allowing a natural progression of things. A lot of people might hear me talking about just being lazy and being a sack of shit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about kind of the disconnection from what has to be. Because, you know, it's always funny in plant medicine, like you go do ayahuasca and every time you sit down with a shaman or whatever else and they're like, okay, what's your intention? And you get the guy who pulls out his iPad and he's like, okay, let me read this list. I'm like, bro, you're fucked. Like you are so fucked right now because none of that's going to happen. God's going to send you in a completely different direction. And I did that one time and I'm like, I need to go right. And he took me 17 lefts. And I've now to the point now where it's like, what's your intention? I'm like, God's going to give me what God's going to give me. Amen. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like that's hard for places. That's hard for people because we want to be in control. We want to be able to have I's dotted, T's crossed, things going, and not having some of that control is kind of hard.
Yeah. I mean, I've struggled with so being in the military, organization was bang. Yeah. Dude, I was not a good Marine like that, bro. Like I had teams, you know, or like someone knew how to make a spreadsheet. I'm like, I knew how to do it, but like they were just better than me. Yeah. And like how we plan, it's called a TEEP. I don't remember what a TEEP stands for. It's fucking another million military acronym. But basically it's like 180. So we 180 days of training before we deploy for 6 months. And everything is like, hey, here's the deployment date, and we back plan all the way to the day we come back from the next deployment. And it's just everything's lined out. And I'm like, okay, well shit, I know how to plan. I know how to build missions and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, how do I do that in my own personal life? Because but I've had to like reshift like what the mission is. Like, dude, I'm constantly in like danger zone, right? I just have to rebuild the mission and like now I'm just undercover. But like my calendar, I'm like, man, maybe my calendar's like not as stacked as it needs to be. But I'm like, I barely even do what's on my calendar. Like I struggle every day. Yep. But meanwhile, my friends on the outside are like, oh, dude, you're doing so much. I'm like,
you don't feel like you're doing shit.
I don't feel like, dude, I feel like I just wasted a whole day because it took me so long to order stickers. And I'm still like pretty hands-on like the process because I have not figured out how to not let go as in like I need to do it, but I haven't figured out how to. I'm so tied into the creative aspect that I haven't figured out how to communicate it properly. And I'm like, and I don't know, that's a big deficiency in me that needs to be worked on.
Maybe it's not.
Yeah, maybe it's not too. Yeah, you're right.
What if it's not? Yeah. What if it's like you're the creative genius and that's the hat that you're always going to fucking wear? Why is it not a deficiency? Yeah. Like why is it a deficiency? To look at it and be like, yo, this is what I do. It's what I like to do. It's what I love to do. If you love to do it, then fucking do it.
I mean, I don't like when I touch my computer, it like time slows down. But it actually really ramps up because I'm like so slow and like I finished my book proposal and I'm like, hey babe, I'm gonna stay here all night. And she's like, okay, that's fine. I'm like, are you cool? You're like, yeah, you have a goal that you're working on. I'm excited for you. I'm like, oh shit, thanks. And I'm like, yeah, like a crackhead, like working all night. Like I'm good. I like to find those flows. But then there's like, oh, I gotta order stickers or I gotta order blanks. Oh shit, I'm gonna sit on this for a week and just burn it down because I don't want to have to touch those things. But then there's other things I'm super like nerdy about. But you know, I remember I spoke on the Mike Ridlin podcast and he's like, you know a lot about someone with their morning routine. He's like, what's your routine? I'm like, I don't fucking have one, dude. I'm still trying to figure it out because the internet's hard. you glaze at it and it's like, oh, you're fucked up.
Yeah, you're done. Like you're so far behind everybody.
Behind everybody. You don't fucking wake up. You don't own 30 homes by the age of 17 and a half. Like, you're a piece of shit. Well, this morning my alarm went off, and at that time my son, who's 2 years old, he rolled over and like, I don't have hair, but it like fucked with my head and like put his arm around me. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about the gym that I had planned before I had to fly to the airport today. Like, I don't care about that shit. And I made a post about it. Like, if I'm a piece of shit, I'm tired of feeling like a piece of shit by like not having this like solid routine, because I've done routines. What happens when Murphy Law happens? Mm-hmm. I feel like shit, because I let myself down.
Yep.
Or I said something to my wife and she didn't see the action take place, and that she may not say something, but that's planting some type of like, something inside her. And I got tired of like putting all that pressure on myself. And so I am, like I said, my main goal in life is like, how can I be the rawest version of me and be totally cool that, I need to get all my shit done today? That sucks. But now I'm going to come home, and how can I not think about work and just be there for my son and my wife?
Yeah.
That's like my main goal now, because, my dream job, dude, is just create content all day. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's not hard.
Right.
But I make it so fucking complicated, and I focus so much on that, I jeopardize the shit that actually matters to my family. Because if the lights go out and we're going to fucking dude, my content don't matter. God's gonna be like, yo, we're not gonna use our voice anymore. We're gonna use our fucking trigger finger. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna use our skill sets. And I'm like, Roger that. So all that shit doesn't even matter. But my family does, dude. And that's where I'm really at. Because last year, money. I try to be fucking all these other like male role models that I've looked up to or got to interact with online before. I'm like, I want to be like them. I'm like, dude, I hate selling shit. I hate it. I felt so preachy trying to sell my fucking coaching group. Like, I don't want to, bro. Like, will it change your life? Fuck yeah, it will. But do I want to be on a phone call to close you? No, because I don't want to be known for that on my tombstone.
Yep.
He had a great coaching group. That's fucking lame.
Yep.
I don't want to be that. Just like you're like, yours has been going on, what, 7-8 years now?
10.
Holy shit, 10 years. But it's been like, as Sean Whalen grows and your impact grows, guess what? It's like, wait a second. It took me years to convert over to, invest into your group, 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I'm fucking glad I did. Yeah. And I was so scared over a price point that I've spent more on the dumber things that are toxic for my life. But because I submit to wanting to learn from another man, oh my God, it's a weird thing. Yeah. I've grown exponentially.
Dude, you know what's funny about that is like when you think about the rules, right? Like success, like you're saying, like if you don't have this by this amount, or you don't get up at 2:42 a.m., you fucking suck ass. If you ever read 700 pages, like, dude, the older I get, and I definitely think plant medicine and meditation, things like that have helped me so much. I realize, like, this is my fucking journey. Like, this is my life. Am I better today than I was yesterday? In many ways, yes. In some ways, no. Am I stopping, idling? No. Are there days that I just don't do anything? Yeah. There's days that I have a to-do list and I just fucking don't do it. There's days that I go this way and go this way, and we put so much pressure on ourselves, but from what and why? Where did that come from? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I really think that this conversation around, mental health and this, that, and the other, like this comparison of where it should be or what it should look like or how it should be, it's like, I talked about this on Facebook the other day. Like, instead of having a morning routine, have a success routine. Like, what's your success routine? If you want to sleep until fucking 10 o'clock, but you can crank it shit out and get it done and become a multimillionaire, sleep until 10 o'clock. If you want to sleep all day long and stay up all night long, then fucking do it, right? There's so much pressure, and what's interesting is, like, can you name where it came from? Where did it come from? Like, who programmed that in your brain? You know what I'm saying? One of one of my favorite books is The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. I don't know if you read it by Debbie Ford. It's really good. And I saw this with medicine is, she talks about how when we're born into these infinite mansions, right? Like, have you ever seen, like, just a baby, a little 2-year-old? You put a 2-year-old in a tub, and you put a little boy and a little girl in the tub, and there's no, like, penis and vagina or good or bad or right or wrong or weird ego or shit like that. They're just pure. They'll stick a fork in a socket. They'll pull, things they just don't. They're staring at lights. Like, there's just this curious wonder about fucking everything. Want to touch everything and smell everything and taste everything and see everything, right? Now fast forward to, 38, 39, 40, 45, and you go from exploring these infinite mansions of possibility to living in a 1-bedroom condo. Here's what we do every day. Here's how we fuck. Here's how we earn. Here's how we do. This is what we do. This is how we do it. And you just end the day and then you do it again tomorrow. And so when you stop and think about that, like, that's the reason, in my opinion, so many people are so fucking unhappy. Because when you're like, dude, we haven't even found the edges of the universe yet. They just shot that James Webb telescope. Have you studied that shit? Bro, that will boggle your fucking mind. There's a documentary on Netflix. That's that picture that I just put on my wall. It's called The Pillars of Creation. It was one of the first pictures taken. I get off on this kind of stuff because it's like the Hubble telescope has been like the shit for years, right? Well, they just built this James Webb telescope, and moral of the story, it's like thousands of times better. Not like it's twice as fast or twice as good, thousands of times. They shot it out to where nothing had ever been, and then pointed it where nothing had ever seen, and they discovered like billions of galaxies, not like stars, galaxies. We don't even know the edges of this galaxy. So my point is, like, coming full circle is like, you stop and you think about what's out there and what is possible. And you come back to, like, I always talk about zoom out. And you look at your life and you're like, does it really fucking matter? Like, this pressure that I'm under and these things that I'm doing, and if I want to design t-shirts and just be in the creative space the rest of my life, if I can fucking make a good living and enjoy my life and pass that shit on to my kids, that's like the highest level of success you could ever fucking have. You know what I'm saying? And I keep coming back to that. Like, once you zoom out and look at life and realize that we're on this rock that's just tumbling through space and we don't know where it's going or how it got here or anything like that, it's like, it makes a lot of this other shit that we deal with and that we put on ourselves every day kind of irrelevant. You're kind of like, I slept in today. I'm going to be just fucking fine. I decided not to do anything today. I'm going to be just fucking fine too. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, that's
that's the plant medicine in me talking.
No, for sure though. But that's like where I'm at in life. Like, none of this shit. I was like allowing like stress to enter my life the other day. My wife and I just remodeled our first homestead that we purchased in Idaho, and it's on the market now, thank God. But that thing has been like, it's been financially and like emotionally draining. I'm like, oh fuck, dude. Like, I'm blessed that I've been able to like keep everything afloat, but I'm just like, bro, once we get this anchor off, we're gonna like fucking fly down the sea. This is gonna be great. Mm-hmm. But right now it's very, very, very straining. But I'm like, dude, none of this shit fucking matters. It always works out how it's supposed to work out, and B, like, and my wife she's the G, dude. Like, she didn't have to go all the crazy shit I did. She's always chill and good. I'm like, oh no, we're fucking sinking. I gotta get the buckets. She's like, no, bro, chill. We're good. Yeah. And I'm like, I have to remind myself, like, civilian life is so fucking easy. This shit's easy. And I always just go back to like my hardest days of life. I'm like, yeah, I'd much rather be stressed as fuck right now than I would be doing those things again. I watch some of these like war footages, or like, I've been watching some shit on the Hezbollah, the Hamas stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I've been in that room before. Fuck that shit, dude. Cause like, I'm too concerned about my family, my kids, like just like being happy and like grateful, like, compared to worry about that shit. Then I'm like, bro, why are you complaining? Why are you even stressed, dude? This is nothing. And I have to remind myself that, and that's been really helpful for me, because I can forget. I'm human, dude. I can forget, but like, one of my biggest focuses has been like just letting go. My wife's like, she's like, I don't care about you traveling all the time, because that summertime, it's my travel season. And now that I've been doing more shooting, I have more like actual shooting gigs and events that I'm partaking in. I'm like, super cool, but it's like taking me away from like home. Right. And she's like, I don't care that you're gone. I just care about the quality time we have together. I'm like, oh my God. So that means I have to shut off the brain, the work brain, and just like put on my family brain. And I struggle with that super hard time. But it's getting there. Just like even I like packed last minute last night. She's like, because the last time I traveled, she's like, why don't you pack in advance? I'm like, oh, I'll do it next time. Fuck no, I wait till the last minute.
I just stopped saying that. I have to go to the airport right now. I'm like, fuck, I got to pack. And boom, gone. Like,
and she's like, I wish we could have more. I wish we had like quality, we got to hang out. I'm like, fuck, I'm tired of hearing that. You know, because I control that narrative.
Right.
And so I'm like, so now my only mission is, okay, well, what more do I have to do at home? Like, how can I come into work super early, 7 o'clock, I get done with jiu-jitsu at 7, bang out whatever I need to bang out, and then go home, because when I take my son, dude, I ain't getting shit done. 2-year-old kid, I ain't getting nothing done.
Right.
It's fucking anarchy. Well, my wife, she's got goals and dreams, and you know, she's probably got a calling inside that maybe she's trying to tap into, maybe she's not. I don't know, right? That's her universe. But like, she ain't ever gonna get that space if I don't show up.
Right.
And that's my only focus now, is like, let go of the dumb shit and just focus on the things that matter most. And then the shit that I didn't really need to do, that'll just fall off the table. The shit that's really here for me will present itself, and then we'll just keep on moving and keep on growing and keep on learning and keep on doing the same thing over again.
It never stops. So that's what's dope. Like, that's what the polarity between your old, I'll call it your old life, and your new life is so dramatic. If you really stop and think about it, right? I mean, I didn't have the military service, but I had the business as a young kid, and I was building big businesses and had 170 employees and payroll and all kinds of other shit. And like, they're dramatically different than today. You start getting a little older and a little wiser, you're kind of like, if I have an hour, like, where am I going to spend it? You know, dicking around with stupid people, or playing with my kid, or talking to my wife, or smoking a cigar, playing with my dog. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of that, like, you know, when you think back to that time before, I'm grateful for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're talking about being grateful for the past and grateful for the service and the experiences, which are quite heavy, quite big. Kind of puts everything in perspective when you start looking at a 2-year-old going, fuck, man, like, all of that led me here. All of that got me to this singular moment. You know what I'm saying? Yep. What's that like for you, just realizing that right here, right now is all that exists? Yeah.
I mean, that's gratitude is something else I struggle with. And so always trying to remind myself just to be grateful for that, because it has been a big shift, especially with being a father. I have an 8-year-old son that lives overseas with his mom that I did not get to be part of for a long time. I actually saw him for the first time in 8 years last year. And that was super crazy, super therapeutic, super healing, but just super intense. Like, 8 years wrapped up in a 30-day trip. Like, that was hard. And with my youngest son, I carried all that guilt and shame, thinking like, I'm going to be a piece of shit. Like, I'm not going to be here for him. And guess what? I started to manifest that when my son was born. I was waiting for permission to be a dad. And once I got past that, which all it really was is me just stepping up, and then it literally changed everything. That's how easy it was. I was waiting for permission to be a dad, and then as soon as I just said, fuck you, like, I bull rushed into it, and everything changed. I'm like, why did I make it so difficult? I was just scared.
It's just like starting the business. It's just like getting up on stage. It's just like
why
anything
was I so
else.
worried about this?
You're just beating yourself up. You're like, oh my God, I can't. And then all of a sudden you do it, and you're like, oh.
That was it?
Okay,
That's
cool.
the reason why I was letting my wife down, because I was too scared. But like, yeah, just being present, being a good fucking person, following that path in life that I feel called to. It doesn't tell me about any of this other dumb shit, this human things that I'm like putting on my plate, because that's how crazy I'm in the head. Like, I'm like, oh, I have a big table right here. I need to stack it full of shit. It's just like a pack when we go and patrol the military, bro. You give a dude a fucking pack that's big, they will find every nook and cranny to put something in there. That's what we do. Right? So like, streamlines the way for certain missions, and certain missions it's like, nah, bro, you wanted that food, well, you thought you wanted the food, now you're carrying these big ass batteries for your radio, because that shit will bring you more food than the little food that you're carrying, right? And I'm like trying to reprogram my mind with like, how can I go back to that kind of military mindset, be grateful for all the shitty gear that I have, be grateful for like the shitty conditions that I have, and I'm stoked, I'm here for it 100%. That's all I focused on. Well, how can I be home and do the same thing and not focus about fucking money or my business or this endeavor, and just be fucking grateful that everything that matters to me is in this like 1 square footage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. I love the fact that I know nothing, and I love the fact that I'm open enough to like, yep, I've been a dickhead. Yep. Yeah. I told my wife the other day, I was like, I think I was kind of tired or something like that. I'm like, all right, I love you. And she's like, all right, love you too. And I hung up, and I call her right back. I'm like, hey, I fucking love you. I'm like, I'm sorry, I gave you half-ass energy. You don't deserve that.
Yeah.
And I've caught myself just like go through the motions. I'm like, that would have never landed my wife back in the day. That would have never tell me, hey, I love you so much. So like, why am I doing that? So I've been trying to like be aware of like what I am doing, so I can enhance it for the things that matter most. And then the shit that I'm not even doing, I'm like, I'm probably not doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I'm at as a dude.
So I want to shift gears for a second, because I read a post of yours earlier today, and I resonated big time with this. And I told you I read this earlier today. And I got super emotional by it, because I wrote about a very similar experience in my book that I had 12 years ago. And I wanted to bring this up because, there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast. There's a lot of dudes out there right now that are struggling. Let's call it what it is. Male suicide is at an all-time high. Divorce is at an all-time high. Like, it's an epidemic. It's a plague, whatever you want to call it, right? And I feel like I've been through some seriously wild shit in my days, and I think you would agree that it forged you into who you are. The shirt that you just came out with the wolf, and I want you to share that story here in a second. But like, when you really stop and think about it, one of the things that came to me years ago as Lions Not Sheep first started, and I started sharing my story online, is I bought the domain and still haven't done anything with it yet, but it'll eventually be the title of one of my books. But your mess is your message. And that came to me in such a powerful way, because I realized that, like, where I'd been and what I had been going through literally became my message. It became what I started sharing and talking about. And I know the ripple effect that it's had for 12 years, not just on me and my evolution and my growth, but literally reaching hundreds of millions of people through my posts. But I want to read this to you, and I want you to you don't know which one I'm going to read, but so I'm putting you on the spot, but I want you to talk about this, and then I want to tie this into some of your military stories and experience, because I don't care if you're a veteran or not. I don't care if you've served or if you didn't serve. If you're a noble man who wants more, if you're a human being that wants to grow, you're going to face some fucking shit. That's just the way it boils down to, right? It's just the simple reality. But I'm going to read this to you really quick, and then I want you to kind of share with me your thoughts as you hear this. I miss my best friend every day. You know what's posted this? 2006, I stuck a Kimber 1911 to my head. Mine was a Ruger P95. Ready to blow my brains out because I was being haunted by my dead friends telling me to join them. I survived Operation Vigilant Resolve in Fallujah and Operation Steel Curtain. But I didn't forget their screams. I didn't forget the cost of taking life. What kept me from following through was my desire to want to live, even though my actions spoke otherwise. I went to the Naval Hospital on Camp Pendleton willingly and was greeted with pills that turned me into a zombie, even more suicidal. Not only was my job as a new Force Recon Marine on the line, but so was my life. I quit those pills and found a way. Almost a decade later, I find myself in a similar boat after retiring from the service, lost without an identity and a feeling. I didn't think I could change, but I found a way. I share my life not to save everyone, but to encourage those who want to be saved by the reality of it. Push-ups won't save you. Pills won't save you. Sharing your burdens and addressing your struggles head-on will. You have to want to live. If you don't, I want you to consider this. Strong men think of quitting, but we don't act on it. God has given a plan for you that you'll never discover if you give up. I got super emotional reading that earlier today because I put a Ruger P95 in my mouth. And as we talk about being a dad and all of these cool things and these experiences and businesses and Lamborghinis, to me, I feel like this is part of your origin story. Like, this is really what started your journey on where you're going and what you're doing, and really at the root of why it is that you're sharing. Yes?
Yeah, I think so.
How is it hearing that back?
I almost cried.
Why?
When I talk about missing my buddy every day, Daniel Brown, he was one of my best friends. He killed himself about a year and a half ago. He moved back home to Nebraska with his family, and we were actually going to have a business meeting a week later. He was going to come back out to Idaho, and his wife called me while I was getting into archery. She's like, "Hey, Daniel's dead. He killed himself." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I think about like why these guys do these things, and then I went back to my place. I'm like, why was I willing to do that? And I remember I believe a lot of suicide is brainwash programming, because I had the alcohol, I had the gun, I had the dark room. I was in my living room, my apartment. I was by myself. I was in my fucking feelings. Like, that's what the movies tell you to do. And, you know, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. It was more like a programmed thing. I didn't even want to. I wanted to fucking live, and that's what it helped me fucking not kill myself, because my Kimber doesn't have that much play in the trigger, right? You gotta just touch it. You're gone. But I wanted to fucking live. But even though I wanted to live going into that, I still did all that. And it wasn't until I had it to my fucking head that I'm like, no, I want to fucking live. I want to live. And what I don't understand is, like, I have so many friends, especially from the veteran. I love vets, man. Mm-hmm. I fucking love them. And I know so many hardcore, just straight savages smoke themselves all the time. I'm like, how the fuck can you go through all that hell to fucking end it by your own hand? Like, do we not have a story through that? Is there no good that can come from this fucking evil? And that's what I've been doing through, like, my therapies and, like, my psychedelics. Is just like, how can I repurpose all this fucking hell into something positive? But how can I do it that's not the norm, right? The norm is the fucking pills, dude. I went to base, I almost lost my free fall, because you have to get like a dive and jump physical. I almost failed that because I went to the hospital to get help. And then I went to the floor. It was like the 4th floor of the Naval Hospital in Camp Pendleton. That's where all the loonies are at. They gave me fucking pills instantly. And there's guys in there shaking and shit, like young guys. Like, these motherfuckers did not go to war. But it doesn't mean they don't have pain and trauma, right? Like, they were so young. Like, they were like, I just know it. And I leave this bag of fucking pills. I start taking it. Like, my relationships, I was married at the time. That thing is going down the shitter for multiple reasons. And this was just adding on top of it. I'm like fucking up doing like standard operating procedures. I was a point man for my force team. So, like, I'm just doing a bunch of dumb shit. And my team leader's like, dude, you're fucking off the team if you don't pull your head out of your ass. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, none of you guys know about what I just tried to do. And then here I am trying to help my fucking self, and I'm still fucked up. Like, I wanted to even quit more of my fucking self. I'm like, I'm not doing anything right here. But then I knew that, like, wait a second. If it was supposed to be easy, everyone would fucking do it. It's no different than, like, when I tried out for these specialized units. It's like, so many people talk about doing that. Well, they'll never go. Not because I think they're a pussy. That's just life. Shit's scary. And shit's gonna cost you something in return to go. Like, it cost me, nervous shits in a fucking banana at 5:30 in the morning, waiting on the pool side before I get into the fucking pool with 6 other strangers, and I'm about to get drowned for fucking an hour and a half, and I don't know what's gonna happen. That cost me my fucking comfort. It cost me so much fear and anxiety I had to fucking face. That's why I left the military with so much anxiety. Well, saving yourself gives me the fucking anxiety too, but now I just repurpose it. Like, dude, if I kill myself, bro, do you know how many motherfuckers would probably ice themselves? Infinite. I have seen it time and time again, all these titans, like, oh my God, this sergeant major killed himself. I don't know if I can continue on because this guy failed. This guy fucking quit. I've been to multiple selections where everyone's like, oh, dude, water bottle's so fast. Water bottle fails, and you pass. And you're like, well, fuck, if he was better than me, how did I pass? Did he not want it as much as me? Did I want it more? I don't fucking know. But at the end of the day, we get to choose on how we show up, and pulling a fucking trigger is a choice. Giving up on ourselves is a fucking choice. And thing is, I want to be known for that guy who's like, man, I want to be their fucking suicidal Lamborghini. Before they fucking smoke themselves, I want them to think about my name and what the shit I say about suicide and how fucking selfish it is and how there is a way if you wanted to find a way. All they need is that 1 second. That 1/2 a fucking second to be like, oh shit, what was I doing? Because I was in a trance too, and if I didn't snap myself out of a trance, or if I wasn't snapped out of this trance, I'd be fucking dead. The story would never happen. And so I don't think these guys and girls know that they can fucking change, that the pain is their fucking purpose, right? Their mess is their fucking message. And I remember at your first Lions Den Live I went to, oh my God, that Jeremy Finley guy, right? He was there, and he's like, oh, who wants to change the world? Like the cliche thing, right? And I being on stage in front of, like, my largest audience has been like 1,500 people in a physical presence. Like, you don't ask fucking questions, right? It's weird. These guys, who wants to change the world? And everyone's like, raise their fucking hands. And my friend, she's like, dude, raise your hand. I'm like, I'm scared. I'm like, if they want to change the world, how can I change the world? I fucking said that to myself. And then they got on your stage and they're like, you know, giving their like presidential campaign speech. I'm like, I'm just going to say how it is. Lame, fucking retarded. Like, what? And then I thought to myself, like, how retarded are you, bro? And then after, I'm like, wait a second. Just because I want to change the world they do, they're going to change it in their own fucking way. They're not here to change lives like I'm here to change lives, and vice versa. Your pain would fucking crumble me just like my pain would fucking destroy you, because it's not a comparison. It's like, what do I feel called to do? And I'm willing to bet a lot of these guys feel called for more. And if anything, they feel called like, I just want to be free.
Yeah.
Well, how the fuck is burdening your family being free?
Right.
How is giving up on yourself in the most ultimate way? God's already blessed you with death, bro. Why are you trying to rush it up? Because it's hard? Because you can't fucking see the light? Motherfucker, you ain't supposed to see the light. It's supposed to be terrifying. You're supposed to want to quit. That's how you know growth is imminent. You know, when your life goes to shit, that's a good sign. When you're lost, that's a good sign, because lost people have a fucking chance to be found. It's the fucking delusional people that think they're good to go. Those are the ones you really need to worry about. But being lost, identifying as lost, is a powerful fucking power move. Because when I'm lost and I'm on land nav or I'm in the bush, oh fuck, I'm lost. I don't keep on walking. I stop, I pull out a fucking map, I pull out a compass, and I shoot some reach sections and I find out where I'm at. Well, you can't do that if you're just trotting through life like a fucking zombie. But these guys and girls that are giving up on themselves, man, they forgot how hard, all the hard things they've gone through. One of my buddies, fucking badass fucking recon guy, badass raider, became a Hell's Angel, blew his fucking brains out with a shotgun like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I just fucking lost it. I'm like, he did prison time, all this course crazy. He went down the wrong fucking path, dude, because this guy's, he's full throttle. And I was thinking, and he was so beautiful. He was a beautiful man. He was artistic. He was just, he was like, I had a man crush on him. He fucking kills himself. I could say that almost about all my friends I've killed themselves. If I have man crushes on them in some capacity, I'm just like, why? Why out of all the things you have done in your life do you feel like you're not strong enough to do this? And I realized I can't fucking save him. But what I can do is fucking plant a seed of fucking conscious pause where you're going to think about, is it this bad? Can I fucking do this? Or Cody said, I'm being fucking selfish. Fuck that guy. I'd rather be said, fuck you, and have enemies from you, and you be alive to fucking hate on me, than you be dead as fuck and causing so much generational trauma in your fucking family. Because the chances of a kid being around suicide, just like a separated household, like exponentially, they go down the drain for like livelihood and wellness. And being a dude has done a lot of work on my own inner child work and my own like childhood trauma. Not like it was bad, it was just what it was different. And I'm like, fuck, could you imagine what it's like for these people that have these kids, their spouses, the next relationships they're gonna fucking have? Like, it fucks the world up because of one decision. And every decision that we have is a decision to fucking take a stance on something. And man, I am not that strong, dude. I want to quit on myself every fucking day. Every fucking day I want to quit. It hasn't been as bad such recently, but dude, last year, every fucking day, dude. I remember when I was thinking about my buddy Daniel from that post you read. It was probably, I don't know, it was almost like 6 months before that I made this post. I was at my other office space, and I just texted my wife. I'm like, I'm not good. And she called me and I didn't answer it. I was fucking in my feelings big time. So I did what I do best. I'm like, Cody, you have two options. You can tap out or you can fucking speak it out. So I grabbed my fucking tripod. I grabbed my iPhone. I went outside behind my building, took off my fucking shirt because the internet loves talking shit, put it on Instagram Live, and I just started doing burpees. And I was crying. I wanted to fucking give up on I wanted to quit. And I don't know why, but it just came to me out of nowhere. I wanted to fucking quit. But I know it's a fucking choice, and I know that nothing great is built through fucking zero adversity. You know, like I can never teach. It's like telling fucking parents, like, go all in, son. Meanwhile, the dad hates his fucking life. Yep. How pathetic is that? Not only pathetic, how sad it is for the dad, because the dad knows he wants more, but has he found the courage yet to do something about it? Well, I wanted to fucking kill myself, but I also want fucking more, so have I found the courage to do something about it? And I'm like, it ain't pretty to go do Instagram Live and burpees, but guess what? It's like I'm putting my shit out there even more, because how many people don't think that no one gives a fuck? Or their message isn't worthy enough.
Yep.
Man,
most everybody.
Yeah, I had a post One post saved the guy's life. He joined my coaching group after this post, and he messaged me. He's like, dude, I was going to kill myself on this mountain. I saw your reel. And I came down the mountain. I joined your fucking post, or I joined your coaching group. I was like, from a fucking post of me just sharing my heart, you know, and that's the power we have. Like, no, maybe I don't believe that. What is it? They say God doesn't call the qualified; He qualifies the called, right? But He also doesn't fucking save. Mm-hmm. You have to put your arm out, right? It's the whole like Adam and God, like you have to fucking reach. It's a mutual relationship. It's not going to just snatch you from hell's fire, clearly, because then we wouldn't have all these fucking people committing suicide. But the thing is like, God might not save us in this life. Why would He? Are we even worthy? We can't even fucking get over the fact that like, we're still hating each other over fucking skin color and like who's got a penis. Like that's retarded, right? Why would any God come and save that? He's like, nah, bitches, you know where to find me, but you guys sort it out. But we as humans, as people who are condemned to death, right? We have a chance to help fucking save lives by just bearing our own cross, by speaking our own fucking truth, and by sharing our fucking pains, and which is our power, right? Like we have that chance. And so like, I'm addicted to veterans. Because I believe veterans could change this whole fucking country. Because they're powerful. Veterans are force multipliers. Mm-hmm. But they're also the biggest bitch victims out there. Because why does Sean Whalen carry a gun? I don't know, because he's the same motherfucker hundreds of years ago who fucking kicked ass over T-Tax. Mm-hmm. There was no Marines. There was no vets back then. It was civilians.
Who just said, yo, I want to be free.
Yeah, it was fucking like people that had a flock.
Yeah.
People that were teaching and woodcraftsmen. But now it's just like, God forbid we have a... Shut up.
Civilian that has a gun.
Oh my God. It's like, it's the most ridiculous thing, but that just shows like how small their PP is inside, right? Like they have an inverted weenus because they have yet to identify what truly triggers them, and that you're my fucking countryman, which is another part of the fucking problem. That's why like, that's why I laugh in the state of the country, because it's such a fucking joke. And because people have forgot what is required to have fucking freedom. They want to rely on God to save their ass. They want to rely on the government to save their ass. They want to rely on fucking pills to save their ass. But they have forgot the fact that motherfuckers sacrificed their fucking families hundreds of years ago with no hope other than a fucking cause. But we can't figure out what that cause is. We just want to destroy each other because we only worship one God in America, and that's called media. And that bitch tells us exactly what to do, and we just spoon feed each other with it. And this is why, I mean, every veteran movie, suicide, right? It's like this like woe is me victim shit. So why would you not want to kill yourself? Because you text somebody, they didn't answer you? Yeah, bitch, good. That should make you fucking think. That should piss you off and make you want to fight. Well, you like I get those messages, I can't answer all of them. And it really haunted me for a long time. Because I would be on my phone till like 3 o'clock in the morning, text, oh, I'm going to kill myself. I'm like, oh my God, I got to fucking... I'd had people call me to talk to the cops because there was a fucking veteran inside of a house going to do like a death by cop scenario. I'm like, oh my... I am just a fucking dude. Yeah. I'm just a dude. I'm like, why aren't you powerful like me? The only thing that made me different in the military than fucking 99% of my peers is I just did something that others didn't do. It's not because I was gifted more. I just used the gifts that I had. Fucking free will, my voice... fucking belief. How do we not have those things unless you're fucking NPC, right? And your actual clones are real. Like, I don't know. But that post, it doesn't get any more raw than that, right? Mm-hmm. You have to want to save yourself. And then you have the people like, well, I don't want to live. Well, guess what then? I feel for your family. I feel for everyone who looks up to you for inspiration, which you don't clearly fucking know about. Because I've had motherfuckers reach out to me that I didn't even know existed, talk about how whatever they read impacted their life or changed the trajectory of their life. I had some guy message me on YouTube like, hey, you probably think I'm a piece of shit because I went to prison, but I got a hold of one of your videos, man, and it really impacted my life and changed my life. I'm like, why would I think you're a piece of shit because you went to prison? Yeah. Are you serious? Like, you just got caught. That's the only difference between you and 99% of people. It's like, you got caught, right? Why would I think you're a piece of shit? What has led you to feel like you're a piece of shit? But then it's like, what has led to me to think that I'm not doing enough? Yeah. What has led me to think that what I'm doing isn't right? What has led me to believe that, you know, the fact that I don't know what I'm doing means I know exactly what I'm doing? Why do I overcomplicate this? And when it comes to suicide, it's like, why is this like, it's such a pacifist topic. You don't need counseling. You don't need fucking pills. You need a hard conversation with yourself. And if you don't like what you fucking see, why wouldn't you make that your mission?
Yeah.
And I think people don't want to do that. Like, I've made it a focus when I started to do psychedelics. Like, I've looked at me in the mirror for vanity purposes.
Isn't that wild?
But like, to look in my pupils.
When your balls deep.
Yeah, I'm just like.
Stand there for like an hour, 2 hours, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm like, there you are. I see you in there.
Yeah. You can't hide from that. You can't run from that. You cannot hide from that. That's probably the single, like, most powerful thing you do in that space is just stare yourself in the fucking eyes. Like, I've done it for hours. Just stand there, right, and looking at yourself. I wanted to bring that post up because, number one, I said I resonated with it because I remember the night that I wanted to take my life. And the one thing that came to me the next morning, and you just mentioned this, is I didn't have a path forward. I didn't know up, down, left, right. It was just scramble mode. I just knew that I didn't want to die. I knew that I didn't want to die. I knew that I wanted to live. And the pain, the frustration, the wonder, and I don't want to normalize the darkness, but I want to normalize the darkness, and I want people to understand that, like, from someone like you, someone like me, who we've had these insane experiences, like, it's okay to fucking feel completely scrambled. It's okay to, like, not have any idea which way is up or down. It's absolutely fucking normal and okay to want to burn your entire world to the ground on a regular basis, by the way. It's absolutely okay to have no fucking idea what you're going to do, like what the next move is, what the next play is, what the next deal is. It's absolutely okay to feel completely envious and jealous of other people, to look at them and to feel that inadequacy. That's normal. And I think that's what I fucking, when I read that post, it made me super emotional because I vibe so hard with that in talking about this reality. And I think so many men take their life because they feel like they're fucking broken. And you're not. You can't be broken. You're down, you're down. You're up, you're up. You're lost, you're fucking lost. Like you said, get a goddamn compass and let's get back on track. You have no plan? Welcome to the fucking club, man. You're tired and you want to sleep all day? Welcome to the fucking club. Like, this is normal. I know billionaires that struggle with the same shit. I know multimillionaires, 9 figures, 8 figures, 7 figures, 6 figure people that all struggle with the same shit. And it's that singular moment, I think, that for me became the pivotal reality where it's like, I just want to live. I know that I don't want to die. I know that I don't want to. Like, I still have that gun in my safe with the same fucking bullet. And my wife was talking to me the other day. She's like, you need to do something about this. And I said, what? And we're building this big ranch. And she's like, you know what you should do? I said, what? She's like, you should shoot the bullet into the ranch, like into like the concrete, and just get rid of it. And like, this is your new vision and your new dream and your new thing and your new life. And you're going to take that old one and just bury it here. But I wanted you to talk about that because I feel really, really, really powerful, like in this space. And I feel really called that this is part of the mission. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've been through hell. You've seen it. You fucking stacking the bodies and the dogs and the whole thing, and all those stories are just fucking, it's mind-bending, but like, you're here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're here. And that's the reality. That's life. That's living, is this exact moment. And so I felt really, really compelled that I wanted you to talk about that, because I know that there's someone listening to this podcast right now that needs to know that. And I truly believe that. Like, I had a vision the other day, because I get a ton of shit online, and anytime I open my mouth, I'm getting fucking, it's whatever it is, I'm gonna get shit on no matter what. More people in the veteran community shit on me than anything else, because it's like, well, why, guys? You know what I'm saying? But then again, everybody does. But I realized something. It was like, would I be willing to experience that, knowing that if 100 people saw this video and 99 of them were really, like, gonna laugh at me, mock me, talk shit, if it changed one person's life, would I still do it? The answer is yes. Absolutely. I would send that video, I would write that thing, I would do that deal, I would do whatever it is, because I know that you can come from anything. You can build anything you want, defy the norm. I mean, literally being able to take what it is that's inside of you. If it's, as the good book says, even as the size of a mustard seed, faith is the size of a mustard seed. You can build anything, man. You know what I'm saying? And that post, that as I was going through social media today, that one really stuck out to me, because I've been in that spot, and I know that that move that you made it will have eternal ripples for many, 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 many generations to come that you'll probably never even know about. You'll never even see. But I think that's the game that we're playing. I think that's what we're being called to do.
And I think it's what's freeing too, is that like I'll never see that those trees flourish, and it takes off so much stress because, dude, I make it very clear. I want the world to know Cody Alford exists. Like, to me, it's such a shame to feel called for more and to not even show up on someone's fucking radar. Like, that to me is like a huge shame. And I don't know what the world looks like. You know, I don't know if it's like a number, but like, I don't know what it is, but it's like, why the fuck would I not want to, man? Like, one, I feel powerful as fuck, even in my pain. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel free as fuck, even in the mental hell. Like, why wouldn't I want to share that? And I've spoken on, I don't know, maybe 10 stages in my life now. And everyone, guess what? And they've all been like entrepreneur business based or like law enforcement based. And guess what? There's always that fucking person in there that needed to hear what you had to say. And my very first speaking engagement was 1,500 cops. I was like, holy 1,500. There was big ass 1,500 chairs is a lot of chairs.
That's a big audience for your first one, bro.
First one.
Mine was like 20.
Dude, a first fucking one, you know, it's a paid event. I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid how much for 30 minutes? This is sick. Pyrotechnics, like, dude, it's crazy. They got like shirt cannons. It's nuts. Big old Jumbotron. And I'm like, fuck, I'm like, God, I just want to impact one person. Because if I try to impact 1,500 people, that's a moron. That's a fool's move. It's not about being overzealous. That's just stupid. It's never going to work that way. But if I can focus on just one person, that one eye contact that I make, or that one like, hey man, thank you for what you do, that will change that whole person's fucking ripple. Ripples make waves. That was like one of my first shirts that I made, Ripples Make Waves. And it's true. And I may never see the tsunami. And that's okay. I feel like I'm that cool guy that's walking away from the explosion in the back. Like, I'll never see the explosion. Because it's not designed. Because me looking back, it ain't about me. If I look back, I make it about me. And if I don't look back, I just look forward and say thank you and be appreciative and just keep on doing whatever I'm doing, even though I don't fucking know what that is. If I just keep on going that direction, that's fucking freeing to me. That's powerful. And I'm stoked with that. And you asked me how does it feel, and it just when people, it makes my mom really proud. Someone says something on a post once, they're like, I bet it makes your mom really proud of the impact you're making. I'm like, fuck, I never looked at it that way. And like, I'm glad my mom's alive and gets to see this. She's like, I'm so proud of him. And like, you know, she lives in my area now. And, you know, I don't know how it makes my wife, if it was her way, she would just be in the woods and that's it. Right. Yeah. I'm like, babe, but you're so powerful and strong, like fly. And she's like, no. Yeah.
I'm just good here.
I'm
homesteading.
Good. Yeah, I'm good here homesteading. I'm like, well, at least let me film you because we'll fucking crush it because like you're just a G. So I'm thinking it's gonna like set up some cameras and do it anyways. But it's cool, man. Would I rather that happen?
Yeah.
Never be known or be like, hey, fuck you, man, you piece of shit. Which one of those options would I prefer? You know, like obviously I want the other one because it gives me a chance, especially now in my life, to have a platform. And one of the things I say in most of my posts is like, everyone is fucking redeemable. Mm-hmm. You know, oh, you were suicidal. Oh, you fucked off. You fucked up, or you lost, or you crashed and burned. Bro.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome. You're fucking human.
Yeah.
You're not designed to be perfect.
Yeah.
But through faith and through belief, we can fucking redeem ourselves. Does it wash away everything? I don't fucking know. If you allow yourself to be, because that's the only way you can truly fucking go, is if you take off these anchors that you're just beating yourself up. And I carried around so much guilt and shame for years. Like, oh, what if I went left instead of right? I'd be dead and they wouldn't. Or some other dumb shit that I just beat myself up over. Or if I did this, maybe I would be in my fucking son's life. Like, I don't fucking know, but how can I be in his life now? Right. You know, and I struggle with that. You know, he lives in fucking Germany. I struggle with everything that I touch in my life. Life is very difficult for me because it challenges me, because I can't accept it. I have to constantly improve my battle space. And so like that just make those my missions. And it always happens when I'm away from home, because that's when all the clarity comes. And I come back, oh, I'm going to crush it. Then I'm like, no, I suffered. I didn't crush shit. But it's just, I have to remind myself, bro, brick by brick, and everything that I'm building honestly matters for the masses and my calling, but not for my family. It doesn't matter. But I know as long as I have an opportunity to fucking shine, I'm going to fucking shine bright as fucking blind a lot of people.
Hell yeah.
But until that day comes where my calling is fucking transitioned to, God forbid, I hope it never happens, then that's a different story. But until then, I'm gonna keep on fucking walking. And how can I walk in this faith and this light, but at the same time not leave my loved ones behind and be there, because through them I'm strong, right? Through my belief I'm fucking strong. Serving people, that's a Cody thing. I don't want to serve me. I want to bring my people, my flock, along with me, because that's my dream. Because now there's an even bigger reason to win. I want to share experiences with my fucking friends. I want to have those badass dinners, those retreats that maybe they couldn't afford right now in their life. Or I want to be able to gift things, because when I've been around strong, powerful men that I've got to encounter those things. I remember I went to my first fuck you steak dinner with my buddy Andy from Half Face Blades. You know that knife company?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
They're savage. I went to my first fuck you steak and lobster dinner, or king crab dinner. I never had an experience like that before, dude. He just treated like 4 of us homies, right? Like, and I got to be part of that. I was like, it blew my mind. Mm-hmm. Well, a month later, I flew into Vegas to pick up about a 2021 Tacoma. It's sick. I love it. It's perfect for hunting. I've always wanted one. But I brought 2 of my friends along, and I got to treat them to like a fuck you tomahawk steak dinner. Like, it just, these small experiences blew my mind. But I would never be able to get there unless I was not a good person, a righteous person, but a person that's making impact, because high quality people don't have time for low quality actions. And so the more exposure that I'm able to receive, the more I'm able to share. I can't share what I don't fucking know, and I can't give what I don't have. And so, not quitting on myself, or knowing that, hey, I want to be a piece of shit, but I'm going to be consciously aware and know that it's probably not the best decision. Oh, I'm a piece of shit. Oh, fuck. Well, I can beat myself up, or I could truly learn from it and set up things to help me not do that again. Mm-hmm. And it might take me 20 years. I remember when I was breaking my porn addiction, dude, it took me 2.5 fucking years to stop watching porn. 2.5 fucking years. For 2.5 years, I thought I was a piece of shit, because I was actively trying to stop, and I kept on failing. And I got tired of feeling how I felt. It took me a long time. It took me fucking 2 years to stop smoking weed. Because I was like 4 joints a day. Like, I was like showing the jiu-jitsu high. I was being a piece of shit with weed. Not even helpful anymore. I was just being a dirtbag. I was checking out.
Just like getting high. Yeah.
I just love getting high, but I was checking out. That's what it was. My wife was pregnant during this time, and I'm like in my fucking head, you just like zoning out, just escaping, not being the person I know I'm here to be, because I've kept on fighting that internal battle of like, what if I just let go? And what if I just did the things that I received from whoever, whatever, that one fable night, and see what could happen for my family's life and my life? And that's the only shit I give a fuck about now. That's the only thing I'm focused on now. And because if I can surrender to that, which is not easy for me to do, right? Submit to a thing. If I can do that.
The ego's a wild thing, isn't it?
It's super wild. But the thing is, what a gift to have it.
Yeah.
What a gift to realize, dude, you're kind of fucking wrong, bro. And you're like, oh shit, I was wrong. What a gift to be able to have an opportunity to be wrong, but also have like the emotional intelligence and like the aptitude to be like, fuck, dude, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Because before I used to think I was always right. And what did that cost me? A lot of shit. But I also had that mindset because life and death depend on it. Well, I'm not in that life and death mindset 24/7 anymore. So I'm like, how do I be normal? What is normal? And like, oh, that's normal? Fuck that. How can I be me?
Yeah.
The me that I actually want to be and like proud of, because I've been proud of me for a long time. And that's been hard for me to do, is like be proud of who I am and like, are you doing enough? Are you good enough?
Are you proud of you right now?
I'm proud of myself now.
Good.
But it's fairly new for me.
Yeah.
Because I can feel it shedding weight, and like, dude, I'm telling you, the whole like Jesus thing is like, it's been huge for me. Like,
yeah.
Because I'm not scared of it anymore.
Yeah.
I let a fucking name scare me. I let a thought scare me. I let a feeling scare me. And then I let something that came to me 3-4 years ago haunt me. When I submitted to guidance and I said, fuck you, I know better than you. What a tool move. And so I'm just like, I'm done. I don't know what truth is. I mean, I don't know what anything else is outside of what I believe. So what if I could just pull that thread? Mm-hmm. I'll pull it for everything else. War is easy compared to this fucking eternal battle, right? Like, what if I just submitted to that and like, okay, you know what right and wrong is. You know what you need to do. You know what you need to say yes to and no to. What if you just did those things? I'm like, fuck, that's so hard. But that's my only mission right now. Because I know if I can do those things, everything else that needs to fly and flourish, it will. But if I only focus on that and I neglect the true Cody Alford war and terror, it's like
you're the single greatest terrorist you've ever fought, man.
No one is more terrorizing than myself.
Your brain. I say that to people all the time. I am the worst terrorist. I am the most gnarly, brutal terrorist on planet Earth.
And also, what a gift.
Yeah.
To know that it's only you fucking yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's kind of comical, is it not? As you start to really figure it out. Like, I wanted to talk about some of the war and the whole thing, and Sean's podcast was brilliant, and you shared some incredible things there. But like, this is such a good message because it's real as fuck. Like, you and I have built shit. Like, I didn't come from anything, money, parents, the whole thing. Like, what we've built, we've had to fucking build. And it's not been simple, and it's not been pleasant, and it's been dark, and it's been demoralizing, and it's been humiliating at times, and it's been fucking terrifying. Imagine picking up a plastic Chinese fucking phone and being scared to talk into it. You're like, fuck, dude, you've literally stared at dudes shooting, trying to kill you. You've been shot in the head, and you're like, I'm terrified of this plastic phone right now.
To press a button that's not even a
you're
button.
Like, God damn it, this big red button's like, you're shaking and you're sweating, and you're like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, what is happening right now? It's like, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's the game. Like, that's what I think is so fucking dope about life, is we're all in this same quandary together. Like, we all have these fears. There's people that are going to judge us no matter what. There's people that are going to talk shit no matter what. You get to a place like where I feel like for me personally, I've gotten to, it's kind of like, I don't even think anymore. I just go. You know what I'm saying? And if God says talk, I talk. God says write, I write. And it comes out, and sometimes you're like, whoa. I always know when it's going to be really, when I share something that's powerful, because the phone rings and it's my mom. She's like, you should probably take that down. I'm like, if you're calling me that this one's going to be money, right? But I love the journey, and I love the concept, because it's like, there's a lot of vets listening. There's a lot of civilians listening. There's a lot of young kids listening. There's a lot of old people listening. And I am a very firm believer that in a nanosecond, you can change your entire fucking life.
Truth.
You can literally change your entire fucking life with a simple choice. And then another one. And then another one. And then when you're like playing pinball and you're getting bounced over here, welcome to the club. Bounced over here, good day, bad day, up day, down day. And you said something that I wanted to echo, which is, I truly believe that not that everybody's supposed to have a massive following, but everybody should want to have one. Everybody should want to lead. Everyone should want to go lead. And you might not have be Genghis Khan and take over the whole world. You might only have 5 or 6 people with you. But everybody should want to fucking share their story. Everybody should want to lead. I look at it as a father of 5 kids. I'm like, I could tell them, or I could show them. I could tell them what it's like, or I could show them what it's like. And now we've gotten to a game where we're walking through the airport, and my son was working at Walmart for a couple months here. He didn't want to work for me anymore, and he's like, Dad, I'm just going to go work a regular job. I'm like, great. He's like, I'm going to stock shelves at Walmart. And I got so many messages from people that recognized him, that talked to him in Walmart, stocking shelves, that he had such an impact on, that they would message me and say, this kid's got some serious like manners, and he's a well-disciplined kid. You know what I'm saying? And you think about all of that from this plastic device that at one point in time I was terrified of, and have spent 10 years talking into and just communicating with and fucking sharing and posting and whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's such a freaking wild game, is it?
Yeah, and it's like, what is it?
Yeah.
What is that thing? Where does it even go? But somehow it like lands, and
that's why that vision was so rad for me. Is like I was so deep in medicine, and I saw it. It was clear as day. And to me, that was like that was God telling me, keep fucking going. I don't know who these people are, this guy, this father and this son watching you, but like, you're changing the world. And it might not make sense to people. And you know what I'm talking about because you've seen it. You've felt it. It doesn't make sense. It's, you know, you've got an ego, you're arrogant, you're this, you're that, you're prideful. It's, you know, whatever. Like, why are you doing this? Like, go handle your own shit or go do it some other way. And you're like, no, dude, there's a call. There's a fucking call. Like, there is something burning inside of me that I want to just share more and open and share and be open and share and be open. And it's like, it becomes therapy in a way.
Oh, for sure. Like, and I can't stop like people are like, oh, this is how I batch content. I'm like, bro, you can't batch the message of God, bro. You can't batch that shit. I don't pre-plan nothing.
Me neither.
It comes and it comes. That's it.
Yep.
And one of the coolest things is like not showing up. Like when it goes silent in the hair, and I'm like, okay, what do I need to focus on? What's the real message that I need to hear that not needs to come through me? But I always try to make things like, I always share things that I need to hear. I share things that are to me that could be applied to other people, because we're really connected way more than people think. But like, social media I provide for my family through social media, through the internet world. How sick is that?
It's wild, huh?
I went from like toting a fucking gun, living in a van, to like I can provide for my family through content creation, through sharing. And people, I don't understand like why they refuse to do it. Or the biggest one I get is like, oh, this guy likes to hear himself talk. I'm like,
and
how the fuck
who gives a shit?
Yeah, how can you make an impact by just being silent all the time, dude? Like, there's multiple ways to hear and to lead and to share, and like, but I'm like, you're just coming from a place of like your own like your mental hell. Like, this has like nothing to do with me. And I'm like, yeah, I like to hear my fucking self talk, bro. Here's a weird concept too. I don't know if you feel this way, but like, I'll reread my shit because I'm like, God damn, I needed to hear that. Like, I'm not coming from a place of I know all and high and mighty. Like, it's coming to me because I need to hear this shit too, because I'm not above where you're headed to either. Like, we're all gonna die. Like, I need this message just as much as someone else that I don't even fucking know exists needs this message. Yep. And it's, if anything, it's a reminder for me to like, dude, it's my digital journal to my soul. Yep. And like, I don't know how to be more raw than that. Like, and I don't even want to do it. It just is there. I feel so called to just share everything. Like I just feel like my mission, I'm just carrying this big ass fucking cross. I'm just walking. I don't know why. I don't even fucking want to do that. That's not on my top 5 things to do. You know, and how do you explain something like that to your wife who, you know, for the past, you know, multiple years, that was never about you. You were never about that shit. Right. And now here I am. I'm like, okay, well, how can I, you know, like, how can I lead the way that maybe guides her to where she wants to go or needs to go without trying to tell her what she fucking needs? And how can I lead the way where I imprint positive on my son? And I have my 2 godsons that live with me too. Like, how can I set the example for them? Not being fucking perfect, but being this dude that they see transform in front of their fucking lives, because I don't ever want to be perfect. That sounds like a horrible nightmare.
You can't be.
It sounds so stupid too.
Yeah.
Hey, my name's Sean. Here's my warehouse. Life is perfect. Like, bro, your life sucks. You know, like that would be so boring. Yeah. Like,
people say to me all the time, who are you trying to be? You trying to be Tony Robbins or something? And I'm like, dude, I would love to do that.
Yeah,
I would love to impact millions and millions and millions and millions of people. You're goddamn right, I want to. Like, why would you not want to? Why wouldn't you want to? There's an interesting thing with people's ego that you talked about at the beginning. Like, there's an ego game to this. Like, there's an ego of like, you were, why am I sharing this? Am I sharing this for me? Am I sharing it for people? And there's a dance there. But I think the more you do it, the more you realize, and probably you've experienced this, the more you feel like you just get into this flow state where it's like you just start talking. And you're just talking and you're just sharing, and it's real. And when it's real, that's when it's the most raw. And when it's the most raw, it's when it's the most impactful. But I can tell you that like millions and millions and millions and millions of people have seen and touched and experienced the content, and I've benefited the most because it's been the call. It's the challenge. Will I do it? Will I, in my own freaking total pussy way, grab this phone and turn it on and talk when I don't want to? Or when I feel like a douche, or when I'm like scared, or when I'm feeling down, or when I'm like, well, I really got fucked and I lost millions of dollars. I don't want to talk about it, but that's the real shit. Or I'm depressed and I don't, you know, I'm dealing with some shit and I got to tell everybody it's friggin' sunshine and kittens all the time. That's the game. And you know it too. Like, when it's terrifying to you, that's when you know it's going to be good. Like, if it's super scary for you to press fuck, why am I doing that? That's when you're going to, and it's not to land like, oh, look, I'm gonna get all these views, but like, dude, you're gonna fucking trigger someone, and you're gonna because triggering doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? It's good triggers, positive triggers, neutral. But like, you're like, oh shit, this is terrifying. Like, this is just like, you're just like nailing it in yourself. You know, you're like, okay, fuck it. You can't escape it. Yeah. And but to me, it's so freeing because I can imprison myself.
I did this like one, it was like I forgot what it was called, but it was like a deep thought, like meditation, like breath work experience. And like the guy, she kind of like walked me through. She's like, where are you at? What do you see? And the moral of the story was I saw myself in this like forest / jungle. And I was in a prison cell. And then there was this like king leading an army on horseback, like shiny armor and shit like that up on this hill. And he looked upon me and he's like, hey, what are you doing down there? I'm like, oh, I deserve to be in there. He's like, well, you know, there's no lock on that gate. There's not even a door. You can leave anytime and join us. And he rode off. Well, two things I realized from this like fucking work. One, when I was inside that cage, I didn't even see the fact there was no door or no lock. I just saw the fact that I was in a cage. Two, I told myself I was worthy of that only because that's the perspective of it that I saw. But I also saw that I was the king leading the army that rode away that said, hey, you can come if you want. So it's all a fucking choice of like how we choose to show up for ourselves. It's like, do you want to feed? Like, I don't believe people like light trumps dark. I used to believe that bullshit, but it's not true. Light is equal as dark. It's whichever one you fucking give energy and power to. It's the yin and yang.
Yep.
There has to be, because only man can choose which way the tides fucking go, because for God to intervene would take away free will, and that would be pathetic. That would be fucking sad, right? So only man decides which way we turn the fucking tables, and so we get to decide how much energy we put towards the light or the fucking dark, and that's inside of us.
Well, and where have most of your biggest lessons come from?
The darkness.
Bingo.
I tell people salvation is not found in light, it's found in the dark.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
if you were going towards where everyone else is going, that cannot be the answer.
Right.
It's never the fucking answer. Why would you do that? It's the place where no one's going. It's for where the thing called faith is at. Like, it's dark and scary. It's like the darkness. I feared darkness my entire life. Like the fucking, I used to think aliens were in my room, and maybe that's true. Like, I used to like sleep with the sheets over my head. I used to sweat profusely because I'm like hotboxing my bedroom because I'm terrified to like peek. My parents watched like a bunch of like unsolved mysteries and shit, and my head went down that road. And I'm like, fuck, there's something in my closet. If I did not go into that darkness, I would always fear the unknown.
Yep.
But if I step into it and I prove it wrong or truth or false, I fucking faced it. And if you really want to change your life, you gotta go in. It's the dark, man. Like, it's the fucking 40 days of darkness that was where you will find the next step. Not save your fucking life, the next step, which that sequence of events will lead to the next thing. People are like, oh, I fucking made a post, or I did this one positive thing, but now my life's shit. Like, no, motherfucker. Now the tables just turned. So now you have a new trajectory of still pain, suffering. You're gonna suffer no matter what you do. You're gonna die no matter what. You're either gonna suffer with intention, or you're going to suffer purposely, like without purpose. You're both going to suffer, but you could have an intention towards something bigger than yourself. Like, fuck, I wish I could be happier. Why can't that be your purpose?
Yeah.
And your mission? I wish I was a better dad. Why can't that be your purpose or your mission? Not like, let me compare myself to fucking all these like big time gazillionaires on the internet, which you don't even know which of those motherfuckers are real or not.
They still deal with the same shit. I had Ed Milet on at Lions Den Live 3 years ago. And somebody asked a question about imposter syndrome. And I don't know if you were there or not.
No, but I've heard this one.
Yeah, and they're like, do you struggle with imposter syndrome? And I was like, hell yeah, the whole thing. And why am I posting? And why did it? And it turned to Ed. And Ed's worth $700-800 million. He flew in on the jet that he had just bought from Larry Ellison or whatever. And I turned to Ed and I was like, do you deal with imposter syndrome? He's like, all the time. And you could kind of see everybody like, word? Like, you're Ed. Like, you're the guy online, and you're the guy with the plane, and you got all the money. Like, you won the game. And he's like, I deal with it all the time. And I think that's what's dope about this reality is no one's immune to it. It's just the scale of which you're willing to take on the shit. Because the bigger you get, I mean, look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a perfect example. The guy has literally changed the world. He's revolutionized space travel. He's taken something that for the last 70, 80 years, however long NASA's been around, it's like a pile of dog shit. He completely reinvented the entire game of space travel. Not just like he invented an iPad or came up with water. He reinvented space travel. He's done something no one has ever been able to do. Fire a rocket up and bring it back and land it. No one's been able to do that ever before. That motherfucker gets shit on every day. Read the headlines. He's a dummy. He's an idiot. Now he's doing ketamine, and ketamine's going to fuck him up. I'm like, yo, word. Keep taking ketamine, because that shit's good, number one. Number two, you see some dope shit, like opens up portals that I want to open up. But that's like that's the crazy thing. He's what, third richest, second richest? I don't know. He's in the top 5 richest people on planet Earth. He won the money game. He could buy everything. And he deals with it. And he's like getting shit on by everybody, and headline this and headline that and headline this, and people suing the fuck out of him, buying Twitter, dumb move, doing this, dumb move, rocket blew up, dumb move. And you're like, hello, Mr. Banker that makes like $52,000 a year. I'm not shitting under $50,000 a year. Perhaps you should just shut the fuck up, because the guy's actually crushing the game, and maybe you should just let him, go do his thing. But I think what's cool about it is you got to be willing to fuck some things up. You got to be willing to look dumb. Yeah. You got to be willing to eat shit. I mean, I told you about the apparel company, like making moves. Oh, wait, as the sheep's growing. I make a couple of moves, almost fucking crashes the entire airplane. I'm like, what in the fuck? You got to be willing to eat shit. You're going to put content out there. You got to be willing to have people say you're a fucking moron. Like you want to take your shirt off online and build some muscles and the whole thing. People are going to talk shit. It's like you have to be willing to fucking eat shit and fail miserably in order to be able to win big.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? I can't even tell you how many times the grammar police, Sean, you don't even know how to spell, and your posts are dumb and whatever. I'm like, the bank doesn't give a shit about my spelling. You know what I'm saying? My Lambo doesn't worry. The speedometer, I don't really worry about the letters right there. I just worry about the numbers. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, there's so much fucking fear wrapped around. It's got to be right. It's got to be perfect. Got to do this. And it's like, maybe you should just start getting more comfortable with like fucking things up, doing more things that screw shit up. You know what I'm saying?
But see, that's the cool thing too about the game is like, it's a game. Yeah. And like, people are like, oh man, I wish I had the opportunity. I'm like, bitch, you do.
You do. Everybody does.
Same
Black, white, gay, straight, rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, every single human being listening to this right now has the exact same level playing field.
And you know what?
Period.
The masses won't take it. Right. Because of the programming, the stories, and the fears to what they've called their norm. Whatever they're the fucking fallacy fairy tale that they're living in. Same thing of me being in a cage. I thought I deserved to live in that fucking cage. It never had a lock or a door. But all I saw was a cage, so I built the scenario around it. I also said, fucking, come with me as I'm leading an army. And that was me too. It's the same guy. The same guy who was fucking suicidal in 2006 is the same guy sitting here now. I just suffer with purpose now. I'm like, oh, this is supposed to be hard. Oh, I'm going to have feelings about my fucking friends that have killed themselves, and I'm still going to lose friends along the process. Okay, this is going to suck. This is how I'm going to fucking, interact with it, and this is how I'm going to continue to push forward, and this is why it makes what I'm doing even more powerful. It's never going to stop. And I don't know. I think about death a lot, like a lot.
Me too.
And I think about like, because I can get complacent around like, oh yeah, I fucked up today. All right, I'll just reattack it tomorrow. What happens if tomorrow the fucking button gets pressed and everyone that I love gets fucking vaped? And I'm like, holy shit, I'm stuck in Salt Lake City, Utah. How do I get home? Like, what is home? What then? And I'm going to fucking stress about anything else that doesn't fucking matter to me. I worked with this past life regression energy worker, and she told me like a few past lives of mine. She's like, hey, I see the blockages in your life. You know what none of the fucking blockages were? Work, thinking too much. It was none of the dumb shit that I humanly surround myself with.
What were they?
Living a lonely life, dying lonely, having the family, one of them was having the family, or sorry, one of them was like super powerful, but I obtained the power by being a fucking shit person. People feared me. The other one, I was super influential, super loved and respected. I had the fucking family. I had the mistresses, and I died a lonely life. I'm like, fuck. I don't want that life. Mm-hmm. Both of those scenarios, I died lonely. The other one, I had everything, but I had excess that I didn't even want, and I died a lonely life. It's a fucking game. Do I want to like, okay, that's it, time for bed? Or do I want to be like, oh my God, that was so fucking fun? I don't want to have these things that I don't want to be associated with. And all I have to do is focus on that. That's pretty fucking simple.
Yeah.
But yet I find a way to like overcomplicate it because I have a big ass table that I want to fucking pile shit
Because you're
on.
a human being, bro. Because you have ego and pride and fear and past and history, just like 8 billion other people on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And just like the rich guys, the poor guy, everybody. Like that's the beauty of it. Is it's like, what do you want? I ask people that question all the time. It's one of the hardest questions for a human being to answer. What do you want? Well, I want to be happy. Well, great. I just told a joke and you laughed. You're happy. Well, no, what do you really fucking want? I think it's so incredibly just insightful to be able to realize that you can literally do whatever the fuck you want. You literally can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's really, when you peel back all of the bullshit, the stories, well, poor, or this, that, the other, whatever, like, and you realize, like, there's nothing that I can't do. There's nothing I can't build. You start sparking that, like, oh, okay, well, let's keep going. And you go and you learn, lose some money, pivot and go. Do this, get your heart broken, go. Da-da-da, go. Injury, go. You know what I mean? Jocko talks about, he's like, his whole video, he's like, good. We didn't get the funding that we wanted, good. We didn't do this, good. You're raised by a bunch of asshole parents, good. Your internet's slow, good.
Yeah.
The shit doesn't work, good. You're scared of your phone, good. You're fat sack shit, good. Like, now what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I fucking love it, dude.
Yeah, I love the fact that getting to explore my life, I was just trying to like live my life, like taking it however I've been dealt, vice getting to explore, like, hey, well, this is like the other day I stressed a little bit about like funds and shit like that, like these properties. I'm like, fuck, I can stress out, or I'm like, dude, I got all the tools that I need. All I got to do is like figure out how to strategically move them around to make it make sense. Mm-hmm. Like, I got everything I need right now to transform my life, my family's life, be present, be happy, be grateful. And then it comes down to simply reminding myself. And so like, that's my only focus on. Can I be me today? And can I remind myself of how amazing my life is and how good I have it? Or am I going to keep on saying, oh man, I don't have this, therefore I find myself in this fucking cage cell again.
It's so wild, dude. We could talk about this shit forever. I love it. We're going to have to do another podcast because I want to, either that or we just tell everybody to go listen to Sean's, because like your stories around war are pretty fucking crazy. So I want to ask you a question. Final question. I think we're going to do like 2.0 on this. If these were your last words and this was your last statement that you could make, what would it be?
Shine so bright that even darkness has no place to hide.
I dig it. Anything else you want to share, dude?
No, man, I appreciate you. Appreciate your listeners.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, you've been a big inspiration for me. And I remember when I talked about you on a previous stage, and like, oh, this guy is one of your fucking role models. I'm like, it was like you and Gary Vee. I'm like, Gary Vee don't give a fuck, and he's like this innovator for marketing because there's multiple ways to like skin a cat, and he has them all. And then like you're like this dude that like, you're just a fucking dude. You can be dead as shit like me. You know, you were nobody that said I'm gonna be somebody, and you went through this like transformation of exposing your dirty laundry, and that made you a piece of shit clearly in people's eyes. But to me, it inspired me to like, man, I want to have a steak and cigar with Sean. I don't want to have it with you. Why? Why you? Why are you inspire me? And it wasn't these things that you possess and worked hard for. It's like this dude that I'm sure you're not perfect in your own fucking ways, right? Like, but like, you're playing the game. And I just like to roll with people that play the fucking game. Do you have your struggles? Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. But like, you're also not oblivious to the fact that like, I get to choose how I show up.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what inspires me. And like I said, you've helped change my family's life by calling me out that one day, man. That brought in, me be able to make impact and income for my own family. And dude, I don't forget that
That's
shit.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. We're gonna have to talk again because like we could talk forever. But thanks for showing up, dude. Real talk. Like not just here, but like just playing the game. Because there's very few people that really do, and there's very few people that I see that truly grasp like what it is to play the game and to really fucking show up. And I can see that in what you're doing, and not just what you're building with the business, but with family, and more than anything, like just sharing your heart. You know what I'm saying? Sharing the real. Like you talk a lot about all of it, like, but you talk about you. And I think that's you talked about the ripples make the waves. That's how you create the waves, is those little teeny moments of time, those little teeny ripples end up just transferring through the cosmos for eternity. And I can only fathom how many lives like now and 2 and 10 and 20 and 50 years from now, or stumble across some video that you did from the back of your shed doing burpees while you're crying, and they're like, fuck, man, yeah, that's the shit. Like, that's what lit my fire, and then their fire, and then that fire, and then that ripple and that wave. And it's like, it's an amazing thing. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, all right, guys, we got all of his links and everything else. Go follow him. You did a podcast with Sean Ryan that was phenomenal. It was like 4 hours you guys talked, and it was really, really, really powerful. I definitely suggest you guys go check that out too. So, anything else you want to share?
Oh man, thanks so much.
Appreciate you guys. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Please share this. Please comment. Go hit up Cody's Instagram. We'll link it here somewhere around the video, somewhere around the podcast in the show notes. And until next time, God bless.